All right, all right, all right. Did everyone cool down from this past Monday show about Kevin Samuels? Well, I am
No.
your host in the Counselor's Corner, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the controversial counselor. Joining me is the dynamic but explosive panel. Herb Lewis, the big bad wolf.
Ow.
That wolf, that growl is, I don't know, it seems real weak today. That wolf sounds
Hangover
sick.
weekend. He said
There's
hangover.
a reason behind it.
Okay. Willie A. Price speaks absolutely nothing but the truth.
I'm ready to speak it tonight, too.
She's not present right now. Christine comes correct all the time. Brooks, lovable Lakia Perry, she's not present at this moment either. Anetta Life Coach Williams, and the youngest in charge, Shaughnessy Andrews.
Hey, hey.
Well,
The
this
baby of
past
the month.
Monday, we had discussed why was Kevin Samuel so disliked by so many women and men. The panel was lit. The chat was on fire. We brought the energy just like the late great Kevin Samuels would have done. But tonight, Monday, May 16th, we will start off the evening with why put in all those years with her only to marry someone else? Fellas, why do we do that? Why do you do that? Spend all those years wasting time, arguments, vacations, planning, saving, talking about goals, but only to marry someone else with the quickness. What
Mm.
made him do so? He was he built up by the other woman? She supported his dreams. They created great memories. She was more spontaneous, mind blowing sex, and overall happiness that led to marriage. This should get real interesting. So we gonna leave
I
it
got
at
a
that.
question.
Hold the questions. Hold the questions.
He said no.
Number two, he wants a good listener. Ladies, can you be that? Can you be that effective listener? Can you reduce those 20,000 words you speak a day
That's funny.
compared to his 7,000?
That's
Wow.
right.
So we're
That's
we're
right.
we're gonna go deeper into that now. And number three, have black men and women reached the point of no return regarding how we view most things? Because you know the gender war going back and forth, independent, and all this submissive, all of this talk that's going out there. Is that really, bringing a divide between us, and we've hit the point of no return? So we're gonna go deep on that one, and then finally, why is he your go-to guy but not your be with guy?
Because
You
I
know
can
that
speak
guy.
20,000 words.
Probably so with the go-to guy. He just sit
That's
there,
like a
listen,
foreign
follow you
language.
around like a puppy, and do everything you say. I need you to move this. I need you to do that. He's right there. So
Mm.
we're gonna talk about that type of situation. So boy oh boy, we're about to get to the bottom of a lot of issues. Tune in. There may be something you need to find out, but please don't forget to like and share our video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Council. Let's go. Help me to reach 500 subs before the end of the month. All right,
Yes.
so here we are.
Let's,
It's been a
let's
lot
make it
going
happen.
on. First thing I want to talk about, obviously, is because it's near and dear to so many of us. Condolences to everyone who's been impacted by that mass shooting in Buffalo. It, I mean, I don't even words can't even explain when you read some of the stuff and just think about. I guess I'm getting irritated with the whole thing because we're always talking about having professional developments in the workplace. Always talking about this. Always uh, cultural diversity, this and that. And is it just talk at this point? Because will things will things ever change? So now we have to have another fear factor that people like. I don't even know if I can go out shopping, and you got to be paranoid. And I got to tell you, it hit me because I was at the gas station and I seen two guys had on like their arm, and they were probably just in the reserves, but they had on like military outfits. My heart started beating like, oh shit. It, like it's nothing I could do at this point. So I'm just it's terrible. It's terrible. And I think what pissed me off the most about it was like a lot of elderly people, man. Like
Mhm.
damn, man. Like our elderly. Like I'm just I'm angry and I'm mad, and I don't even want to talk about this stuff at work anymore. I'm checked out for these conversations. Like I don't even want to do it no more. Whatever. It's about action now, and we 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 done took probably about 10 steps backwards uh, after this. So that's all I'm going to say. Anybody else want to reflect on that quickly?
For me, this week it's it's been a role. Actually, let's going back a little bit. Ever since ever since hearing about Kevin's passing, it's been a roller coaster ride for me personally. Um, First of all, let me issue an apology to the panel members that may have been offended last week by my speech. That it When I get in those states, it's not to attack people. I want to make that clear. I don't have a reason to attack anyone, but I do want to convey is the seriousness with which I was speaking. It's difficult for Black men in this country, let alone the world, to get traction to speak freely without being criticized for trying to uplift our people. And the way a lot of people were carrying on, and the fallout is still being felt with people denigrating him, talking about karma and this, it hit differently. Because I see myself in Kevin. When I ran for political office, my aim was to uplift
Bless
us.
you.
And I had people doing similar things. So for me, it was personal. And for people
Thank you.
to take that type of liberty to assassinate him, particularly when he was dead, because the man offered at least once a month smoke shows to where if you disagreed with him, you could call in. You could ask him. You could sit there and talk with him and disagree or agree and point out your grievances to him. And a lot of people just wouldn't do that. They would wait till that man is deceased. So for me, it was just, it was almost unfathomable that somebody would do something like that. I had the privilege, and I will say privilege, of meeting with my fellow Lions of the Niagara Falls Community Lions, and we did a pop-up eye clinic. Now, the pop-up eye clinic was a non-means uh, eye screening process to where we gave eye tests, measured people for glasses, got them fitted for glasses. We did over 120 people. We're hoping to make this an annual event. So this is why I was talking about volunteering. It was a chance for me to reflect on all the things that happened. And while we were in the midst of doing that is when the travesty occurred in Buffalo. I didn't find out about it until later that night when we had an increased police presence at our hotel. And this is something that I personally in the upcoming shows with the Green Light of David want to address some of the things that we can do, as you alluded to earlier, David, that when you saw the guy in camel gear, it spiked your heart rate, and understandably so, because it's not something that we see often, especially in our communities, where we're taught that guns are the boogeyman. We have to get past that notion. We have to start realizing that in order for us to survive and to be able to combat these type of situations, we need to be armed. And I don't say that lightly. I'm in the process of getting my pistol permit, and I hope everybody, especially Black men who hear this live and on the rebroadcast, if you're able to, please go get your pistol permit and learn some form of self-defense. It's the only thing that could potentially save you and your friends in a potential situation like this. And I'll yield the mic.
See, and I'm gonna pass it for it. I've been kind of afraid to get a pistol thing. Just so I've been on the fence, and I know that it's probably needed because I don't know. I am my father's son. Eh, he was he could be a loose cannon at this. I ain't never shot nobody or anything like that, but he didn't tolerate. He had a short fuse, a short tolerance for nonsense. So I just like
Yeah, you gotta have the right temperament for it. That's the thing too. You
I
gotta
ain't
have the
saying I'm
right
psycho or anything like that, but I
right.
just like if somebody push those
Right.
buttons, whatever, and they take me there, we gonna go
And
there.
now
We
they're
might as
not
well
just
go there.
giving pistol permits. You gotta have you gotta go through training.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to go through the training, and
You
they're
gotta go through
offering
training,
training up here in
and it
Western New
depends
York. I
on
saw
what areas you're at. They even do site. You gotta have site visit.
yeah, psych evaluations and background
Wow.
checks and all kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I just
I
asked.
Flying
definitely
cars, that.
recommend everyone has their pistol permit. You know, Saturday was hard to see my family out there crying and people falling to the ground, and just to see people in a situation that's something you never want to be exposed to. Not only just that, my mom 30 minutes before was like pleading with me to take her to the grocery store. And because I was all the way on the other side of town, I was like, no, I don't want to do it right now. I'll take you later. So it's, you know what I'm saying? And she lives like literally 3, 4 streets away from that. So it's nothing for her, for us to take her to that store. I was just there Friday getting cherries, and Aaron was in there, and I was talking to him. And then Katini, he sits out there and he does his jitney. And so it's a lot that is composed. Everyone that got murdered in there, it's some type of effect or connection to my life growing up. So it's a lot. You know, most of the people that were deceased, it's a heavy thing to carry. And somebody to be fully armed like that, that no matter if you had your pistol permit, he was geared up so tight
Yeah.
that you had to be totally
Yep.
The artillery he had,
you
your
couldn't
little
shoot him in the
pistol
head
couldn't
because he
even.
had
Because the
he had
officer
gear
shot
on.
him.
He
The
had gear on
officer
his
shot him
head.
3 times, and it
Yeah, he had
Yes,
gear
but this
on.
is
didn't affect him.
the thing, and I was listening to Officer Faulkner's live stream earlier, and this is one of the things that we discussed. When police officers or law enforcement officers are trained, they're trained to shoot what they call a bowling pin. Now, if you take a bowling pin and you put it in the form of a human, the top is the head, and the pin simulates the center mass that you want to aim at. Now, unbeknown to the officer, and this is not a fault of his, he didn't realize that the guy was wearing what they call tactical gear.
Right.
Tactical gear is what you see with SWAT.
How do you
So
get that? How do you get that gear?
New York State.
You can get
actually,
it. Anybody can get tactical gear.
Anybody can get it.
hold
And
on.
I'm gonna say
Hold on.
this: I have several people that are in law enforcement, and Willie knows that. And my friend sitting here now, the sheriff, he's like, no, that's not true. They're trained to do exactly what Aaron did. Go for the head in a situation like that. They're trained in a situation like that to go for head, chest. Any other time
Correct.
they're trained to take them, abduct them without taking them, killing them. But
Correct.
that situation predicted him to be taken out, and Aaron did exactly what he's supposed to do. He was not aware that the guy had on gear from his head, everything else, because he didn't
Correct.
walk in there. He did. I'm gonna say this. I'm repeating what you said. He did say he slowed him down for killing everybody.
Correct.
Right. That's what they said.
Right.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was going to say is, in the absence of being able to take him out with a headshot or anything else, you can also shoot him in the pelvis. That, from what the officer was saying, whose live stream I was listening to earlier, usually will stop most people, because when you're wearing tactical gear, you're not wearing those type of things. And Officer Faulkner just appeared in the chat, and he
Usually
can
it is.
So
Yeah.
I'm not making this up. I'm telling you what a military veteran, a law officer in Baltimore, has said. So anything that I'm telling you is verifiable.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that there's a lot of people want to question me as if I don't know what I'm
talking about.
Exactly.
This is a little
That's
touchy
like,
for me.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Anetta, you owe me no apology. I would last week. I was in the same frame of mind that you are in now. So anything you want to say, I'll take it.
All right.
It's not the same frame of
All right.
mind. That Kevin Samuel
Anyways,
has
let's
no relation. Okay, I'm done. We're done.
I got
That's not
some
what I'm
things
saying.
to say
What I'm
about
saying
this
is I
because
understand the frame of mind that you
Right.
are in. I'm not saying they're related. I'm just simply saying we all deal with grief in different ways. For me, last week I was dealing with grief, and I'm still dealing with grief. We all handle it in different ways, whether it's from a loved one or somebody that is distant to us. We deal with it differently. Last week I dealt with it in the way that I dealt with. You're dealing with it how you deal with it. That's what I'm saying. However you respond is however you respond. I'm not going to hold you to any type of behavior or level of morality. I'm not doing that. That's what I want to convey.
All right, well, I'm going to move on to what I had to say. So I was in that store Friday. And whenever I go to Buffalo, that is where, like most people, because that's the only grocery store in that area, on the east side, basically, the only real grocery store. And so I was there Friday, and from what I was reading and understanding, he was actually in the store Thursday, and they had him removed from the store Thursday. Apparently,
He was there Friday
he
too.
did something Thursday in the store, and they had him removed from the store. Yeah. No, I don't know if he was there Friday. I was there Friday. Like I said, I was there Friday. And then, like I said, Saturday, I was at my event. But I was actually talking about, if I don't know if anybody saw the video I posted on dealing with racism. I posted it today in a group. I posted a couple of different places. And because when I left from Buffalo, I was driving today, and it was just so much going on with all this racism and all the different news articles. And I was watching a presentation, a press conference with the mayor and county legislature, all these politicians, and they were talking, and I was reading the comments that people were making while this press conference was going on. And when I say the hate and the racism and the division of the people in Western New York and Erie County and Niagara County is so damaging. It's so scary. I mean, you people are worrying about people coming from out of the state when you really should be worried about the people who are living here in the state. And I posted this video today because on my way to driving and I'm watching this video, I had to go to a meeting. And I was going home to take the groceries home, and the thought of going to this meeting put a knot in my stomach because I've been on this board for 7 years, and I've dealt with some of the worst racism that you could ever deal with on this board. I've been the only Black on this board for 7 years, 31 people on this board, and I'm the only Black. And when I walk in the room, they look at me and they treat me like I'm not supposed to be there. And the things that they do and the things that they say or don't say when I walk in the room and speak to people and they turn and walk away and don't say a word to me. I've been a member, like I said, for 7 years, and it took them 5 years to change the picture of the board. You know, when we go to, like, they have the board picture up of all the board members. It took them 5 years, and I had to keep asking. And then when we took the picture, some of the people refused to get in the picture because they didn't want to get in the picture with me. I go to events and they don't put my name as a board member in any of the events. 7 years I've been dealing with this. So on my way home, it made me think about, this is just a reflection of what's going on in our area. And if we don't address the nonsense and the mindsets of people that are here, people coming from the outside is not going to be the ones that's going to get us. Those aren't going to be people that's not the people that's going to be doing this, what you see going on now. He just opened the door to show how vulnerable we were.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. That's all he did, was open the door to show people how vulnerable we were. But that mindset, like I said, I saw people laughing and think it was a joke, and it was, it was just crazy that people had no feelings about what happened and thought it was no big deal, or they were glad that it happened, or and so you see that this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, and we need to prepare ourselves. We need to prepare ourselves and be ready. I can't get a pistol permit because of where I live, but I mean, I thought about it, but then I don't want to jeopardize where I live. But
what about long guns? Are y'all able to have rifles without permits?
Yes, anyone is, so long as you're not a convicted.
But where I live, you can't have any arm any kind of guns or anything when I am in the properties where I live.
What I would suggest really is in the lieu of guns, get blades.
Oh, I know what to get. I'm just saying, as far as people talking about getting pistol permits. Oh, I know. Please, I know what to get. I know how to be ready, and that's what.
Wait, what you said? Get blades?
Blades like a knife.
A knife.
Yes,
Why would I bring a knife to a gunfight?
Well, it's not that. What you
well,
have to realize is,
I don't know who has the feedback, but a friend of mine does a lot of the defense and all of that other stuff. And it is said that if somebody is running towards you with a knife, once they get a certain I guess distance away from you, it serves you no good to grab that gun out of your waistband.
Right.
Because you already lost that fight.
Correct.
So that's not necessarily a losing battle.
Yeah.
I actually saw a video and I was truly surprised about it.
I think Officer Faulkner, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the distance is like 15 feet, 12 to 15 feet.
Charles? Is that him in the video right there?
Yes, that's Officer Faulkner.
Okay.
I don't know if he's I don't know the distance, but I didn't believe it until I saw the video and I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, I had a former. Go ahead, Shaughnessy. I'm sorry.
I was just saying I think he was trying to prove a point because like he doesn't believe in the not necessarily believe in the open carry, but he prefers not to open carry. He prefers concealed weapons only. And he was just showing me a bunch of videos why the open carry is just not safe. And or not the safest. It's not always as safe as you think it is. And it was pretty interesting to see the different videos and see like the reaction time and how you can turn around and be an active shooter and you just wasted your time pretty much versus trying to duck for cover, trying to get your gun. It was definitely different, to say the least.
You know what bothers me the whole thing? Like if these, if people really get crazy, schools are not really prepared for
not at all.
This at all. It's like open season. Like
churches
come to the thing, buzz them in, and you say, "Oh, come to the main office," but no one directs them to the office. So if they already know where they're going or who they're looking for, they can just go there. So it's scary times.
Churches are worse though, Dave. Think about it. Churches are worse because once you make it through that front door, you're normally right. If not in the sanctuary, you're right at the sanctuary.
Right.
So imagine him walking into a church on Sunday morning in that same situation. It could have been a lot worse. And they actually said that someone pulled out a gun in one of the churches on Sunday following this event.
That wasn't true.
And they tackled the guy. I don't know if it was a black guy or a white guy. Huh?
It was reported in California that the
it wasn't. Can y'all hear me?
Oh, was it True Bethel? I know it. It was True Bethel.
It wasn't true. It wasn't true.
Oh,
it wasn't true.
That wasn't true. That happened at True Bethel. That's another thing we do, and I'm not. It's no dig to you, but another thing people do. They put out a lot of false information that wasn't true. The boy yelled out with all the officials there. He yelled out, "Let's put the guns down. Let's put the guns down." And he yelled that out, and security really jumped. They jumped and tried to make it safe because they had the governor and all of them there and all the officials, but there was never a gun there.
Okay.
Just like somebody posted up on Facebook, right? Just like somebody posted up on Facebook, it's a shooting going on at Southside. People keep putting false information, and I believe that people are so insensitive And so just people just keep
And that's why I
saying
said
and
it's the
doing stuff.
mindset. People think it's a joke, but the
Because
reason why
another thing they do is people are so quick to put up their phones and start recording versus calling 911 or
Or
doing
exactly,
rendering
that
aid.
everybody want to get a
which
like,
drives me
everybody want to
crazy.
get a share, everybody want to go live with something, but nobody is
Yep.
thinking about the empathy or any sympathy about the families and people that are close by. You rather take a picture of somebody laying in the store dead or laying on the ground,
I
but
don't
you
even know
ain't
how you
thinking
could do
about
that.
none
I
of
don't
the
even know how you
people
could do that.
family or anything like that. So far as I'm concerned, a lot of these people on Facebook and social media is a bunch of cowards and weak butt people who are just looking for some attention, and they ain't nothing but attention seekers, and they are just very insulting. They're cowardly people, and far as I'm concerned, they are epitome people.
I
And
can't see
the
doing a
reason
video of somebody
I
laying
want
there
to say
dead.
something on the reason why I brought that up with the True Bethel is because, like I said, I actually saw a video and the post was saying that someone pulled a gun, and they showed the service where the pastor ran off the stage and saying get him and all this stuff. So like I said, if you saw the video, you would have actually believed that that's what was going on, that someone had a gun. So what you're saying is that somebody said put down the guns or whatever, and they assumed the person might have had one and went after him. But I know from the video, Pastor Pridgeon ran off the stage, and what's his name? The other prison ran up behind him and was guarding him. And then they ran off the stage, and people started moving towards wherever that direction was. So, like I said, I don't know. I just went by what I saw in the video and what was posted in the video. But like I said, it's still so we have to address home. We have to prepare and deal with the people that are here and address. And you have to start in the schools. Because the parents are already setting their minds. The parents are the ones that are teaching the kids that mindset about, taking out, and blacks are no good and minorities are no good and taking the jobs and this, that, and the other. So, I mean, you have to work with the kids at home and surround them. And that's why we do the Race Car Challenge program that we're doing to help kids to have those conversations, to get to know each other in different races. So this way, even if they hear it at home, because they have friends and different people that they've met and discussed different discussions with, they can go home and, well, at least, even if they don't say anything at home, they can say, well, I already know that's not true because my friend so-and-so at school, I know, and he's not like that. So they get a different version by having those conversations in school and learning more about other races and cultures and so forth. So that's where we have to start, is in the schools, because the parents, it's not going to trickle down.
Well, in all actuality, and I know many of y'all might not want to hear this, we need to stop focusing so much on academics. Need to focus more on social.
True.
I agree.
Very
need to
true.
focus on social.
Very true.
You can be smart as a damn whip and have 4.0 this and that off the chart scores, but if you can't relate to people, because you don't live in a world by yourself, you live in a world with other people. If you can't relate to people, it's worth nothing. So something has to change about the way we've been doing things, and the focus shouldn't be either you got to make it 50-50 or something, but I think to me it should be 70-30 or something, social, developing people socially.
Social
and
skills,
the academic stuff, like I said, I never had an interview that somebody said, what's your GPA or whatever the case is. It don't, if you graduate and you can prove that, it's your opportunity socially to say, this is my job.
Right.
This is my
present
job.
yourself. Right.
Yeah. So this whole shit is, excuse my language, this whole shit is fucked up. This whole system that we go through. And that's just the way it is. Sometimes I feel like getting a paycheck. I feel like I'm getting a paycheck, but I'm like, I'm a damn hypocrite with this stuff, whatever, because this ain't right. I hope I have a job tomorrow, but whatever. No, I'm serious though.
They need you. You got a job. Yeah. You definitely got a job. They need you.
So yeah, the social development piece is critical.
It is, because you have so many people that are socially awkward. Prime example, this kid goes into a black neighborhood and kills Black people, set up a whole plan. Not only prior to this, he threatens to shoot up his high school and they give him counseling. Prior to this, his parents buys him a gun. They birthed a monster, they educated a monster, they trained a monster. And then we want to sit here and say mental illness. No, they need to be arrested and placed in jail as well. As conspiracy, as co-conspiracy to what he did. Because they actually helped them be and educated him and trained him. That's a learned behavior in his household.
The only thing I will say is you want to be careful with setting that type of precedent, because what the criminal justice system will do is they will take that and they will weaponize it against Black men in inner cities who are just killing individual people. Just want to put that out there.
That's not the same thing, Herb.
I'm not
That's
saying
not the same thing. It's not. That's a totally different thing versus Black men or whatever doing. We don't agree with that either. But that's not. You can't even equate that as the same thing as somebody coming into our neighborhood and slaughtering our seniors, our family members. That's not the same thing.
Well, I'm gonna say this because of the situation. I don't even know if we're gonna get into these other things because
yes, we are
subject matters. We can.
We are, because I'd rather not keep talking.
We are.
I just know this run deep, man. This every day, man. This is life. This stuff that happened. It's life. And another thing, I ain't trying to start out no war. Now. I just don't know how nobody can get arrested. They just sitting there chilling. Just chilling. Like after all of that, it's just chilling. That whole picture, that image keep playing like, oh, this dude he's just chilling. After all of this. After all went through, he's just chilling.
And nobody had fear for their lives. Nobody feared for their lives going to get them.
That let me know as a Black
Not only
man.
that y'all see that it was 5 white cops that apprehended him.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, give me a freaking break.
One of them afraid. He walking towards them with machine gun, our body piercing armor, and everything. And now
if he was black, they would have shot and killed him.
Please.
Swiss cheese. Cheese.
As soon as they saw him, they would have shot him.
Easily.
But not one of those officers feared for their life.
Yep. He wasn't a thug.
Isn't that amazing? He ain't got to be a thug. He wasn't dark skinned.
He wasn't dark. He wasn't dark enough.
He would have been dark. They would have been firing as soon as he walked around the corner.
Did not fit the description.
So, I don't know. Hey, Lakia.
Hey, guys and girls, ladies. I'm sorry, no disrespect. Exhausted, but yeah, just sad. I was just in a meeting. We were talking about it because I am part of a non-for-profit organization that fights social injustices. So we're having a meeting tomorrow at noon on Hyde Park Boulevard. Same time not the mayor, but the president's supposed to be here in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So we're still going to have hours because the word we received was they're not going to let too many more like outsiders in because some people are coming just for publicity's sake or
protesting.
So we're still doing ours, and anyone is available. Yeah, all of that. At noon, it's going to be right. I don't know if anybody knows where the little pool area is, for the little kiddie pool area on Hyde Park Boulevard, like kind of kiddie corner from Tim Hortons, right across the street from Gaskill Middle School. We're meeting there to discuss this and hopefully begin joining hands together to meet with the police departments, the sheriff, the Nassau County Sheriff's Department, and what we're going to do, what we can do to help bring this change with guns. The violence that's taking place in Niagara Falls as well. What we've been experiencing. I'm hearing gunshots all the time from my house.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
That's
It's ridiculous.
on some different shit. That what they doing.
Right, but it's just period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Both. Our own is your black on black and you got your white on black. Like what the heck?
The gun laws are not going to change until you have one of their kids that are hit up and shot up and brutally murdered in a mass shooting.
Well, it was.
That happens,
But it's already happened.
That's happened plenty of times. And
Columbine?
In Vegas? What do you mean?
When
I say in they, when I mention they, I'm not just saying black or white. I'm saying the people that actually make the moves, the leaders, the leaders. Because you have to think about it. Right now, gun ammo is going to go up, or it's already up. Gun ammo is up right now. So guess who's making money? They're also exactly
gun ammo is already up, and right during the early part of COVID, you couldn't even go and get the ammunition you needed. Right. It was like the regular places I would call and just get bullets. You couldn't just call and get the bullets because it was scarce. It was very scarce and far and in between. So gun ammo is already. Yeah, people have been stocking up for a few years now. Exactly. We just got to look at the whole picture, and we got to be able to safeguard ourselves, because what he did on Saturday, that's just the beginning of all the stuff they're going to do. And it's sad to say, but we are in a crisis that we just really need to be precautious, and we need to watch everything. Yeah, do it seem like we're going to be a little paranoid? And I have to admit, I totally have no trust at this moment for any person that's not of my color.
And I don't even trust my color. I have been procrastinating these past couple of years with my gun license application. I have my certificate, and I have my 3 applications for Niagara County. You have to have 3. And actually, I didn't procrastinate. I did do one, and I wrote it out in blue. And so I was like, I gotta do it all over because that's supposed to be all in black. Right, but to protect myself, to protect my family. But it's not that we can't go and buy guns either, because you can still without a license, can't you go buy like
a shotgun?
A shotgun,
You can have a shotgun. You can't have a.
I think the misconception that people don't understand about the Second Amendment is this: the Second Amendment guarantees any non-felon and any person that has not been deemed clinically insane the right to own a long arm. Okay, a long arm is considered a shotgun or a rifle. What you need a permit for is to carry handguns. Now, whether the state you're in is concealed or open carry is different, but a long arm, as long as you have been cleared and the background check comes through clean, you can go and purchase a long arm. But it has to be done from a dealer. And if you're buying at a gun shop, you have to, and you're buying peer-to-peer, that also has to pass a certain spectrum. Mm-hmm. What people, and we keep hearing about common sense legislation when it comes to certain types of what they consider automatic weapons. Let's not be misguided about that. The average person, doesn't matter what their ethnicity is, isn't going out and buying an AR-15. An AR-15. You don't think so? They're not. Trust me on that. The average person, I'm not saying people aren't, the average person isn't walking around with an AR-15.
Well, walking around, I guess that's a little different, but I'm not, I don't know any statistics on it. I just know that in knowing a lot of people that are licensed to carry guns and have gotten into guns over the years, they all have ARs. And I'm not saying they're walking the streets with them, but all of them have them. I thought at one point that was something that was, oh, he's a military guy, so that's why he has the AR. No, when I say literally everybody that I know that has a gun license has an AR or has an automatic weapon, they do. Why? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I will tell you this: having fired an AR, you're better off having a shotgun. An AR for home defense does you absolutely no
No,
good.
I understand. I don't even think I'm not saying it is for defense. That was another conversation that I had with one of them. There's different. Don't get me into it because I don't know the difference. I'm getting bullied by my dog, but there's different ones where they say are better to do all of that. But just the fact of people, regular normal people having ARs, they do. They do.
I'm not saying people don't. I'm just saying the amount that people think people own isn't on par with what people are thinking.
No.
There are more handguns in this country than there are automatic weapons. And mind you, an AR would be considered a semi-automatic. And the difference between a semi-automatic and an automatic is just the number of shots that you go per trigger depressor. So take the M16 that the military uses. The M16 that the military uses can be set to semi-auto or full auto. And the difference is once you pull the trigger, it doesn't stop until you depress the trigger or until the magazine is empty. As opposed to a semi-automatic, you pull the trigger and you'll get a 2 or 3 shot burst. After you fire that first shot, you have to re-index or re-aim in order to be accurate. So after that point, your shots are all over the place. That's why shotguns are much better, because with a shotgun, you can use what they call slug ammo, with the solid shot or grape shot, which gives you a spread pattern and allows you to hit more. Once you hit something, case in point,
if that officer, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Who had the shotgun?
Can we get on to a subject and get out of gun class, please? Please.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Hey, Christine.
Hey.
And how you doing?
Hello, lovely Christine.
Hello.
Hi.
We was just rehashing on the events from Saturday, and it ended up being, people being armed.
Yeah, I could understand that.
Yeah, so that's that. You got anything you want to reflect on that? It might be something you want to say as far as that. And then we'll move on to the first talking point.
I honestly don't. I don't want to belabor it. It's sad and horrible. This much I will say. I refuse to live in fear. I just refuse, I know we have to be cautious out here, but you can't go around thinking of every possible scenario that some clown is going to come out and decide to ambush a bunch of people because they're Black. You just can't cover everything. So, I'm going to go ahead and live.
Yep, you would go crazy trying to do that.
All right, Christina, you said, what's the topic? We're going to start off. That was just a reflection. It was a long reflection, but I felt it was very much needed to talk about this. We got to talk about it. Can't sweep it under the rug. So the initial first talking point tonight was, why put in all those years with her only to marry someone else? Why do guys do that? Go through everything. Go through the grind with somebody. Like I said, the vacations, maybe a couple kids. Who knows? And then eventually, that falls out, and you're with this person, but you never marry him. Then all of a sudden, a year later, you married. Now that other person, like, excuse my language, ain't this about a bitch? I went through everything with him, and now he's married. Wow. Why does that happen?
I could give a number of reasons, but I'll start with the simple one.
The 100 questions.
Remember when we were taught math, and in order to occupy his place, they would tell you get a zero as a placeholder so things work out? Some people are just placeholders until that individual finds a situation that they deem a little bit better for them. They just, hey, I don't want to be by myself. I want to have something soft and warm to lay next to, while this oven is preheating itself. So when this oven reaches its temperature, I can jump in and bake. Um, you have some men that will do that. You have some men that will also say, you know what, there ain't nothing good going on right now. I don't want to be by myself. She'll do right now. And little does she know everything that she's doing to quote unquote improve him. She's improving him, but she's improving him for somebody else because she hasn't set, and I'm not blaming her or any woman, she hasn't set a standard or grounds for what she wants out of the relationship. So if you go into a relationship as a woman and you're dealing with a man who you allow to just exist, he hasn't said that he wants to marry you. He hasn't committed to anything beyond a long-term cohabitation, whether that's non-sexual or you might be earning just a little bit more money than his, making his life a little bit more palatable. So while he may not be into you as sexually as some other guys you've dealt with, he say, you know what? I'll break off once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. I'll come home. I'll participate in some of the household chores. I pay at least quote unquote my fair share. She don't bother me. I got the best of both worlds. So why am I going to upset the apple cart when the apple cart's rolling right along? And anytime I want an apple, I just pick one and sit here and eat it and discard the core. I'm flying under the radar. I'm doing all right.
I don't know about that one.
I'm telling you.
Oh, I hear you. But if you think about it, I actually talked about this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I was talking about a young lady that I dated for almost 10 years on and off. And like I said, for her, we always have a picture of in our mind of who we think the kind of person we want. And like I said, I dated her and we did things. We stayed together for a while. We, all kind of things. We would go places and we did a lot of things together. And I enjoyed her. She was a very great person, a very special person. But in the back of my mind, it wasn't like this is going to be my wife. I love being around her. I love spending time with her. We did, like I said, we did stuff all the time. And I think I said to you guys, I said, and then I told her, we kept breaking up, getting back together. And I said, if we break up and get back together one more time, I'm going to ask you to marry me. Because I kept saying, 10 years, there's got to be something that makes me keep coming back to this. So we ended up getting back together. And I went out and bought the ring and gave it to her. And she told me that wasn't the kind of ring she wanted. I actually bought her a ring better than what she wanted. And she said the ring that I bought her wasn't what she wanted. And as a result, I realized that for me, I said, no matter what I do, you'll never be happy. If I give you something better than what you asked for and you don't recognize that. And then actually it took for somebody else to tell her that what I bought her was better than what she actually thought she wanted. And I ended up leaving that and selling that ring. And later on, I ended up getting married, meeting someone and getting married. But that person the person that I married wasn't anything like I even imagined married. And I think I married because I was ready to get married. Mm-hmm. So the next person I met, I married. So, and that's what it ends up happening. So you end up settling for something only because you're at a point where you don't want to, go any further with, somebody else. So some people may, be in a situation and just be waiting for something better, what they think is better to come along. Or then you may be in a situation where it's not working out and you realize that you might as well cut your ties and move on. And that's where I was. It wasn't that I was looking for something better. It's just that it didn't work out. I realized at that point that, I said, if we get back together one more time, we're going to get married. I realized, like I said, I kept going back to her and we really got along very well. We did everything and, we could talk about anything. So we had a great understanding. It was just that when it came down to that, and I said, again, if we get back together, we're going to get married. And she didn't believe me. But when I did it, it still didn't work out because our values were different. I could say that. I think that was the only thing. Our values were different.
Ladies, anything y'all want to add to what Willie and Herb said?
I don't think that. I think when it's time for you to move forward and what's meant to be will be. I don't see if two people have to be satisfied in a situation for it to go on for 10 years, for 5 years. So if you didn't, as Herb said, set the standard, then of course, if there's no issue with you guys being together for 5 years and beyond, and his intention or his goal is not to be married or not to get married, then here y'all are at 10 years going on 11. And if it is, and he feels like you are the one for you, then that will happen. But everybody has to make those decisions for themselves. I wouldn't knock anybody for it or not for it. What's for you is for you. 9 times out of 10, if you've been with somebody for 10 years and you guys break up and on the very next year you find someone and get married, that's who you were meant to be with. You weren't meant to be with the one previously.
Mm-hmm.
Christine.
I can jump in if you want me to. That's I just advocate. That's why I said no. I'm not trying to be in that type of relationship. Period. That's why in my vetting process, I have fought to not allow myself to accept just being somebody's girlfriend for a long period of time. We have to have some understanding and agreement that when we come together, it's for a purpose. It's to see if we're going to come together united within a good, reasonable time. If it's right now, it's barely past 6 months for me. If it's 6 months and we still ain't figured this thing out, maybe you ain't him and I ain't her, and this is moving on. So I just don't agree with being with someone that long.
What do you mean figure this thing out? What do you mean when you say figure this thing out? What do you mean by that?
If I'm the one that he can see himself with for a long period of time in his life.
Let me ask you this. So what do y'all think pressure does? Like you putting pressure, like
it's not pressure. You're a grown man. I'm a grown woman. We know what we want in our life. If it's not
pressure.
The same thing,
everybody deal with pressure.
If it's not the same thing, then it ain't pressure. You just not for me and I'm not for you. We got to be of like minds.
But so when you mean pressure, you're like a woman asking like, "What? So when are you gonna marry me?"
Like their proverbial, their timeline, whatever. Like, okay, we've been 2 years into it, but you having a time of your damn life, but you're not married yet, but you still like, I'm crazy about this person. We just haven't took it to the next level. But then you increase with the pressure. What do you think that's going to do?
Why haven't you taken it to the next level? That's the question.
But this
I think I get where Lakia is coming from, and I do kind of agree with it. If you know what you want, you know that you want to be married. You're not gonna be somebody's forever girlfriend. And like you just described, David, you've been together 2 years, everything is great, you're having the time of your life, yada yada yada. Then I have to agree with Lakia. It's time to like stop and ask that question. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Do we see this going any further? And then the real thing is after that, then you hopefully have clarity on where this person stands. And then you can make an informed decision whether to stay in it and just hang out and have fun, or to stay in it but not date exclusively, or to just move on altogether. But and while we're saying this, I guess this is something that I see too often. Women will hang in there thinking that it's gonna come, it's gonna happen.
That's the whole thing.
So
hoping, wishing, and praying.
The irony,
right? And I think they do themselves a disservice, because then you know, by the time, sometimes it's not after 10 years or whatever. You've been in this long-term relationship, y'all been together practically every day. Y'all living together and all this stuff. And you're waiting on marriage. And then he turns around and leaves.
And leave you.
It ain't even that you got fed up and said, I'm done. I'm not waiting any longer. He left.
So
I've seen it happen to women.
I have a question about that though. So let's just say, and let's be clear here. I do think that marriage is the goal, and I am dating with marriage in mind. But realistically, let's just say you put a timeline on something and you say, you know, it's been 2 years. We've been having the time of our lives. You know, my family, I know your family. Everything is good. Everything is wonderful. Let's get married. Why is that any different? Year 5, you guys can still break up.
The hope is that
Yeah.
the hope is that with the marriage, you're making a commitment like you do a partnership, like you do any type of partnership or friendship, is that you're going to keep that vow and that you're going to, you see the bigger picture that we're in this thing together. We're through thick and thin.
Got you.
To death do we part. We're in this thing. And ain't nobody else coming in. Now, if you choose to make that, then you didn't broke that vow. You didn't broke that promise to me. I didn't broke that promise to you.
Okay, so it's basically the commitment level is different.
Yeah, I think them vows should be adjusted because those same vows that people been using for years ain't working. So let's try something different. Let's try something
It's funny
different
you
for
say
real.
that, David, because I want to follow what Lakia was saying. It's funny how she mentioned 6 months. When Kevin Samuels was saying that, there were a lot of people who were pushing back on the notion that that's too soon. And the only people that's too soon for are those who have no interest in pursuing anything on that level.
I don't know. I do. 6 months
Let
is
me ask
old.
you, all right, let me ask you this question.
I agree.
Are you going to go interview for a job that you don't want?
No.
Why? I'm speaking
Waste of time.
explicitly to Shaughnessy.
It's a waste of time.
So why would you spend time dating somebody who has no concept, no thought process of doing anything other than just, as Jason Black would say, bouncing on you?
Well, I mean, I get that concept, but you can have the intention, and 2 people can want to be married. And I just had this conversation
but what we're
with
saying
somebody
is
else.
this:
There's a difference in wanting to marry a person and wanting to be with a person and wanting to be married. And
Married, right?
I feel like that's where we start rushing into things when we don't really know.
But let's look at it like this.
Full situation.
Let's look at it like this. If you were to lose your job, how long would it take you to start looking for another job?
It depends on what that severance package looks like.
I'm asking the question. You said the point. No, I'm saying if you lost your job and there was no severance package.
I would be looking for a job immediately.
And this is what Lakia is saying. Lakia is saying when she gets into a relationship, this is the goal.
Right.
I don't care who it is, what it is. If you're dating somebody just to date, then this doesn't fit you.
You don't fit me.
Right. Absolutely.
But
I understand that.
If you're dating to marry, then you're not going to entertain anybody from day one who is not aligned with your goals. This is just like I said when we had the interview at Je ne sais quoi, Dave, when they asked why should a woman submit to a man. And what did I say? I said you should never submit to the man. You should submit to that man's plan. Because when you submit to that man's plan, you automatically know where he's going because it's written and etched in stone. He ain't wavering from it. He ain't changing from it. This is where he's going. If you want to go where he's going, to hook your wagon up to his horses, and we gonna pull.
You know, like I said, it's my last experiment. And I call experiment, it's not dating, it's some vetting. My last
I like that. I like
right?
that.
Right? Thank you. I just came up with it. Thank you. Just came to me.
Mhm.
I cracked myself up. So in my last experiment, I just like I enjoyed the company, we're going out having dinner stuff, but there was some things that were still questionable. And I was like, okay, let me just check it out. Let me see, maybe, I'm missing something, maybe, just like, just taking my time getting to know the person. But there's some things that this person didn't do that I felt like was something that I need to have and I would like to have in a relationship. So I would have conversations about it, just out of just, not trying to nag nobody, just trying to see if it's something that comes natural. Some things come natural and some things don't. And
Right.
and I'm not trying to change nobody. I want the one I would desire to have some in my life that will, you know what I mean? We're not gonna always agree, but we flow. And we have that respect level that even though we don't agree, that love is still there and it's not gonna waver where we are, in the relationship and the love and then the commitment that we have for each other. So just watching, and I would say, listen, this is something that I like, and I'm not trying to change you. If that's not who you are, then I respect it, and maybe this ain't gonna work between me and you. Um, and then, oh no, I'm sorry, you're right. I'll change. Okay. Well, I'm just saying, I ain't trying to change you, but if it's part of who you are, that's what you'll do,
Bastard.
And then there's something else gonna say, well, hey, this was on my mind. This is something I didn't like, or something that I like, and hey, I don't think this is gonna work. And I'm just,
6 months. You think 6 months is enough time to get all of those I likes and I don't likes out the way?
no, it's
Realistically,
some things are critical. Some things matter more than others, and some things is necessary that needs to be there for me. And if it's not there, it's just best just to leave it alone.
you know
And see,
what's
this
my thought process like it, and my thought process is, and why I say it's too quick is because I just feel like in the back of my head, have we gone through all of the scenarios within
you're
6
never,
months? Because
but you're
there may
never.
be a situation or a scenario, because everything could be good, everything could be great, and there can be a situation or a scenario, and you react a different way, or don't react a different way, or do something a certain way, and I'm like, no, this is a no for me.
All right,
And
hold on, Sodacy. Let me just interrupt you for a brief moment, so then
mhm.
you can continue on. Give us a scenario that would be a deal breaker for you. This is the one of the 100 questions. Give us a scenario.
Have you ever had an abortion?
I got something about that. I heard something I wanted to share tonight. I'm glad you brought that up.
Give us a scenario where if you're married and it happens, you out the door.
Oh, I didn't say. Oh, okay. That is a valid question. Okay, let's say your kid does something and you kick your kid out the house. I can't bang with that. I can't get with that. That's a no go for me. But
He kicks his kid out.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me run with that. Let's say this kid is 17. Well, let's say the kid is 16.
Mm-hmm.
This kid brings home a firearm that isn't his and stashes it in the house against his father's wishes. He already knows how his father feels about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to disrupt and end your marriage because he's enforcing what he's raised his child to do?
But that at that point, it's not his child, it becomes ours.
Why isn't it his child if he raised that child and he created that child?
So
if y'all married, are y'all married or y'all dating?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about in marriage. So that's what I'm saying. So pretty much, and this is just how I see it in marriage, and this is how I've seen it growing up. If I do something and if I did something or I did whatever it could be, what you're saying is because I'm my father's child, his wife has no say on what goes on.
It's not about It's
She
not
can't
about
tell him
not
to back
having a
down. She
say.
can't tell him, okay, you being too rough, like you're doing too much, or it's too much.
It's not about not having a say.
Man,
Let me put it to you like this: when we were kids, we were taught, and Dave, Lakia, Anetta, Christine, and Willie can verify this, that you do what I say in my house.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you don't answer that door, you don't answer that door. You don't get to do
Absolutely.
what you want to because you have the ability. There are certain rules that govern what goes on in this house. And the moment you step outside of those rules is the moment you become a liability. And at that point, I can no longer have you in my house because you have gone beyond my control. That's the wider scope of what we don't see sometimes.
Right. And I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying, and I get your concept, but that would be one of those things that you would hope that the conversation happens right before it gets there, because one thing that is important when I date certain people is how they treat or would treat their child in certain situations. But you don't go through a book and go through a line and say, how are you going to act in every single situation? So that's why I brought that up. But to me, just like you asked, yes, that is a no-go for me. I don't feel like people are disposable. Your children aren't disposable. You figure it out. That's your child. That's your human being. You're responsible to them until your last breath. You're responsible for them until your last breath. So definitely,
is that what you believe, or is that an actual fact?
I believe that to be fact. You are responsible for the child you bring into this world. A 16-year-old that brings a firearm in the home is wrong. That 16-year-old is not disposable, though.
But who's talking about being disposable?
You just said you're gonna put him out. Where you gonna go? He's 16.
Well, I would hope that if you put him out as a plan, that is something set up that he's safe. So I think that's the bigger thing. Like that,
right, because he's going right back to where he got the gun from.
Yeah. Whether he went to his mother's house, whether he went to his grandmother's house, somewhere that he's safe. That would be the end result, I would hope.
But how does that resolve anything?
Sometimes you may need some time away.
Who
from
said
what?
that there's going to be a resolution?
No, sometimes as a parent, I'm going to be out, like during COVID, one of my kids, we got into it. She had to go. She had to go to daddy house to go. You got to go to your daddy house. Goodbye.
But you had somewhere safe for her to go.
Place for her to go.
Right.
Like, I knew she had somewhere to go if it was going to be.
Yeah. So she's saying that has to be established. You just don't throw a kid out with no plan, nowhere to go.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are certain lines that you're not going to have crossed in your home. Don't matter who it is. And it has less to do with somebody being disposable so much as it has to do with the confines of the home being a safe space. Because if you have a 12-year-old that gets a hold of that gun and he discharges that gun and he harms a younger brother, then what does the fallout become? These are the things we don't think about because we're always looking at things in a bubble.
That's all thought of. That's all thought of. And I agree. Again, like I said, I don't disagree with the fact that that would be a very serious matter and it's not to be taken lightly. But the first recourse wouldn't be kick them out. That's not the first recourse. Something happened before then to just start this. Now, whether you missed it as a parent or not, something happened before then. So there's room for it to be fixed.
Who said something happened before? That might be the first transgression that child has ever done.
But something was going on before that, whether you missed it as a parent or not.
Says who?
It didn't just happen. It didn't just happen. So you're just saying a straight A student just goes to school one day.
You know what? I got the perfect scenario for you. David, you'll probably recall this. Remember the valedictorian that killed his grandmother with the baseball bat graduation day from LaSalle?
Well, he killed his mother. That was my
Straight
valedictorian.
A
That was the
student.
year. That's the year I
Straight
graduated.
A student.
Yeah.
Never displayed any hostile intent ever until that day.
Well,
That's why I
And
said
there was
there's
nothing wrong with him at
nothing.
all.
Straight A student, valedictorian.
Well, he had some issues.
Yeah, there
Whatever.
was something
Just
wrong
never.
with him.
I was just
There
about
was
to say
never
that
just.
doesn't just
I'm
happen.
saying to the point where he demonstrated he was going to kill his mother.
But what I just said, whether
Well,
you miss
most
it
people
as a
don't
parent
demonstrate
or
anything
not,
like that.
some things we miss as parents. Nothing just randomly happens. I'm not saying that
Right.
it is okay. What I'm saying is the first step when your child does something is not to kick your child out the house. That's all that I'm saying. That's not the first recourse. As a parent, you are responsible for that child. The first fix is not kick the child out the house and let them fend for themselves and figure it out. No.
I'll respond to that in this particular manner. If a state agency comes to your house and they get wind that that child has a weapon, they can remove that child.
I
and cite you for
understand
child
that, but
endangerment.
we're talking about as parents. The state agency is not even there. You
But
as
what
the
I'm saying
parent
is
has
this.
discovered. You as the parents discovered this weapon. Now it's up to you as parents to move forward and figure out how, with your child, do you fix this going forward. It's not just throw them out. And that's something to me, in my opinion, in my feeling, that doesn't happen every 6 months, every 3 months. And it's just not a scenario that often comes up. So that is something that would lead to the detriment of a relationship.
Well,
Oh no, that's fine. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying there are adults who, for them, that is the next step. And it's fine if you have the position that you do and you're saying this is a deal breaker for me. I think everybody should have deal breakers. That way you know where you stand and your partner should know where you stand and vice versa. I'm not saying you're wrong for having that. I'm just simply saying that some people, for them, that's a no-go area.
Right. But the fact of the matter is those are things that don't happen every single day.
You will be surprised at how often underage kids get a hold of firearms. And I'm gonna tell you that from having dinner intake.
Yeah,
and
we're
having
missing.
A 6th grader.
We're missing the whole ideal of the point is the time frames and having enough time to go through certain situations to understand how a person gets through and deals with certain things.
Well, I know y'all mentioned about 6 months, and some people said 6 months is too soon, whatever. And a lot of times you always hear that 6 month that the masks start peeling off, and people true character come out. I mean, that could be a myth, a folk tale, or whatever the case is. Some people can keep that mask on longer, but I guess it depends. Like again, that timeline that you set for yourself. And that's case by case, I think. Like,
yeah, that's what I think is a case by case scenario.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying that. Oh, 6 months now. Okay, if you ain't proposed, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I'm 45. I'm not a young chick anymore, and I think most men that I meet, they know what they want, and they know what they've met. They've been around the block. They ain't new to the dating scene, and nor am I. We know what we know how things flow in conversation. We know how things flow when if we're in agreement with how finances are, how we raise our families. You know, and like there's some people that I flow very well with, but situations keep us from being together. You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
So let me ask you this: so when you tell people what you want, is it easy for them to try to pretend to play that role, and do what they need to do, until they, they have a slip up? If you get what I'm saying, like, okay, this is what I want, and they're like, all right, well,
Yeah, they
I'm
can't.
gonna
I
I'm
feel
gonna
like
play along
people.
with this. Go ahead, Christine. Go ahead.
I feel like people can't keep the charade up for too long, and a lot of times 6 months is long enough. It is about the extent of time that they can keep that charade up. So while I don't think 6 months is long enough to determine that you do want to marry someone. I think a lot of times 6 months will expose that you don't want to marry someone.
Mhm.
Right.
Figure that out.
Gotcha.
You'll figure
Yeah.
that out a lot sooner than you will
I
the other
agree.
part.
I can agree to that, definitely.
You can figure that out in 1 week sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
Figure that out in one
True,
day.
but you know, when a person
Yeah,
is
exactly.
trying to hook you, like David said, they could keep up a pretense for a while,
Mhm.
pretending to be that perfect person
Mhm.
that you've described, you know. But you know, you just if that's not you, you can't maintain it for long, and
Yeah.
stuff there starts to be cracks. You start to see what they're really about, you know.
But what if you're
I
not,
think it's,
you know, what if you're not pretending? What if, because I'm not even coming from a place of deception. I just think different people react to different things in different ways. You can go through a layoff and completely lose it, and then we learn after we got married after a year or two that you don't deal with life's struggles well.
Mhm. That's true.
yeah,
So that's
there's a lot of
pretty much.
people.
Go ahead.
I said there's a lot of people that would be true for, but so what are you saying? You're saying I I guess I'm not understanding what you're saying about the
Yeah.
timeline with that.
Right. Because I'm wondering,
I
how
just,
long were you dating this person before you got into this marriage? How long were you dating them? That once you got married, now all of a sudden all these things come to light. So how long were you dating prior to the marriage?
that's what I'm saying. Like 6 months to a year, that's not a long time
Not
to
like,
figure out.
no.
Really,
Because
I don't know.
most people take a year. Most people take a year once they get engaged. They take a year before they get married. Most people 6 months to a year afterwards. So if
Right.
you're dating for 6 months and now all of a sudden you're proposing, and then 6 months later you getting married, so within a year
Right.
you've gotten married, and
I
you
still
haven't
think
had
that
time to get
there
to know that
are
person.
I still think there are telltale signs of
Yeah, you'll see
not being
things.
able to handle stressful situations
Yeah,
without going
and if
through the extreme
Really?
situation.
and if
I do,
if you think
because
about it,
if that's a person's reaction, like you said, say something happens and they lose their job and they just completely um lose
flip
it,
out.
can't handle it, and that's them. Like when things are good, they're good, but when things are
Mm-hmm.
bad, it's really bad. Well, there were other signs, in my
Yeah, you
opinion,
just ignore them.
along the way. There might have been, how did they react to a flat tire? How do you know what I'm saying? They
Okay.
if they can't handle those things, then typically you'll see
Mm-hmm.
them like more or less throw a tantrum
Right.
over small issues that are
Yeah,
easily resolved.
got their order wrong
emotional
in the restaurant
intelligence.
or
I had this
in
situation. I had not to cut you off, Will. I'm sorry, but I had this situation where my tire went flat, and it was actually another situation where two guys were interested in me, and I was like, okay. So I called the first one, and I was like, my tire went flat. Oh, really? I'm sorry to hear that. Well, let me know how that go for you.
Now, see, I ain't even talking
I
about
know that's
that
not
because
funny,
that's
whatever, but just somebody to respond like
Suicide.
that, like, shit,
yeah.
all right,
I
let
ain't
me
even
know.
talking
Hit
about
me up
like
when you get
that.
it fixed. Hit me up when
Yes.
you get it fixed.
And
Oh, that would have sent
get
me.
it. Okay, so then I called the other one. I was like, my tire flat. He was like, really? Where you at? And I'm like, I'm over. Okay, you need me to come get you? I mean, like those like things like that lets you know,
Right.
you know, um,
But I mean more like
what
if
people character
his
is,
tire went flat, something that was in his world.
I
So
know.
Right.
I'm just saying.
I'll use an example. This guy that I dated, um, we were going out. We had an event to go to, and he couldn't find a parking spot close, and he's just cussing, having to me what I deem
wow.
a freaking tantrum. you know, you're cussing, you're like losing it because you couldn't find a parking space
Parking
closed.
space. Wow.
So
Yeah, so you already
so
know.
yeah, so that's one of
So
those
you
little
think that
indicators.
would present itself early on, so that's not even a
Yeah,
concern
I
down
think
the
there's
line.
little telltale signs like that that let you know they can't handle big situations or that
Gotcha.
they don't handle them
Little
well.
little things
So then
lead to
it
big
becomes the
things.
thing of, if you could deal with that, if you know, if you can deal with that, then you can go ahead and move forward with it. Because I mean, some people do. Some people deal with, they've got a husband or a wife, and when when challenging things come up, that person breaks down. They shut down, they break down, they can't handle it. And that spouse carries them through and makes it okay. But it's all, is that what you're up for? Are you willing to sign up for that?
Right.
So
And like
in
you
your
saying, Christine, there's so many barriers there. You're
Mm-hmm.
saying, like you're saying, the tire situation. You also got to keep in mind, if a third person is very dismissive,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to question that. Do they have the ability to contain your emotions, to understand your emotions if they're dismissive? Because dismissiveness is a very strong indication that a person can't handle communication as well. Okay, so
Hmm.
you got to be very cautious with that.
I
Like
was
you
told
said,
that today.
like Lakia said, she
So
had to go
what?
through her. She had to figure out which guy was what, because who's gonna come to my aid? That's a good telltale sign. Like, who's gonna be able to do that? You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna come? Or do you think enough of me to be concerned about my
Right.
safety to come make sure that I have, that I'm okay in the car? Not just I got a flat tire, that you ask, am I in a safe place? Am I okay? Whatever. Is it raining? It's so many posing questions, and
And I agree
those
with
are
you.
those
That
are
that
those
is
are key.
that can
Yeah,
be
those are key things.
an eliminator, really.
Hmm. That's a total eliminator. He shouldn't be.
Yeah.
He shouldn't
Yeah.
be. He should
Absolutely.
be.
see when Christine, when you say about the guy with the when he's talking about worried about the parking spot, that was an opportunity if y'all had to park further for him just to grab your hand and y'all take a nice stroll to the event wherever y'all was
It
going.
And
was
I'm here to
not David.
ignore.
and
That's
Valet
not what
that's
she
parking.
said, David.
Huh?
She
Valet
but
said
that's
he
an
parking.
was.
important,
He
that is
said
an
he was in
important
flip
thing.
mode. He was in flip
Yeah,
mode because he didn't get a
he
close
was
parking
cussing, he
spot.
was having a fit,
So if he parked
and it's like,
further, that was an
I've
opportunity.
never once complained about the idea of having to walk a distance to get to
Right.
the
Right.
Exactly.
venue.
Right.
Anetta.
So with that being said,
Don't be calling me all day.
yeah, his reaction, like, it was a total turn off.
That
Right.
was an opportunity for him to
Exactly. To take
grab her
advantage
hand
of
to
that.
yeah, yeah.
And
That's what
those
I'm
are
saying.
total turnoffs, and
Yeah.
those are total eliminators. For me, they are
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
total eliminators. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, you're a nice person, but that's when
Not
you
the
either
grown
gonna get
man
friend
tantrum.
zone, you either
Not the
gonna get
grown
friend
man
zone,
tantrum.
or you're gonna be totally eliminated. Okay,
Could have
I don't
found
and
do
a
I
friend
don't,
zones.
could have found a
I don't
nice
have no
parking
problem
spot
with
and
that,
could have found a
because you
nice
gotta know
parking
the
spot
thing.
and just
And
not have been late for the event.
I kept hearing y'all talk about time frames, and I kind of was sitting here thinking, and I'm like, you know, I'm not real big on time frames, because I believe that any relationship or dating should be very organic and it should flow.
Mm-hmm.
Because one is, I'm not ready to run down to somebody's altar. So that can be, I always believe where you are in life is normally what you attract. I firmly believe that. And because I'm not in a place to run to anybody altar, anybody I attract at this current time, 9 out of 10, they're gonna look at me. They smell no commitment. Okay. So I mean, they smell it. The perfume is very strong. Okay. So
I can't.
so people kind of know you normally attract where you are in life. And I believe when my mindset changes, I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm ready for that again. Then I'll start attracting those people. But again, you gotta
Mm.
be I believe in being organic, and I believe at this age you got more time behind you than ahead of you. So I don't have time for the peekaboo, is it me or you? No, I don't got time for that. So it's like, I set my standard. This is where I'm at. This is what I desire. This is what I want. And then you don't have to give me the option. I know I got the option to choose what I want and if I want to be bothered.
Okay. Anybody else want to add anything else before we go to the next segment?
See, I'm gonna tell you how I would have handled the situation if I was the guy with Christina. Simply put, I'd have just dropped off the front door and said, you know what? Go in, get us a set, go get us a couple of seats, and I'll go find a parking spot. That way you can show her how you can deal with situations, but she doesn't have to see you.
See, I'd rather take that stroll with her. I'd rather take that stroll.
Go to
with her.
tandem
No, absolutely, you can do that too, Dave. But what I'm saying
now,
is,
Dave, every week I'm seeing your pettiness, Dave.
He's gonna
Petty.
be
How's that petty? How's that petty? Banana? How's that
I
petty?
would have taken the stroll, Dave. I would have loved the stroll. Just
Yeah, exactly.
all
How's
I'm
that
saying
petty?
is
to what
this.
to what Herb said, if say I was wearing some stilettos with the tiny heel and we got to walk off this
Exactly.
concrete. So that would have been the gentlemanly thing to do if it were an issue for me and he thought it was an issue for me, is to at least offer or to do that if I expressed that I had a problem with parking far. But as a matter of fact, because he was spazzing out, I was like, it's cool. I don't
I
mind
missed
walking.
that part. I missed that part about the shoes. Now, Dave, if I'm telling you my feet hurt,
Yeah,
you
that's
can put
different. That's different. Paying attention, to details. So if you're talking about
real
that,
like,
then
wait a
you know,
minute.
like, all right, I'm gonna drop you off.
You
and
shouldn't have
then
wore
I'm
them
gonna
shoes, sis.
No, but the reason why I say this is this. There was an old adage that says when a situation is going bad, you should behave like a duck. Let water run off your back while under the water you're paddling like crazy. There is a method to being able to maintain a visual composure while internally you're filled with consternation.
Is that considered deceptive though?
No. Because a lot of men are going to be faced with certain situations that they have to externally show that they're composed while internally they might be compromised. Case in point, if me and my girlfriend walking down the street, we going back to our car after a night out, and somebody pulls a gun out or pulls a knife out, I got a couple things I got to do, and I got to do them real quick. Do I want that guy to know that he has to drop on me and I'm scared as hell? Or do I want him to think that, okay, you got to drop on me right now, but that's not how this shit's going in? You want a man that no matter what the situation is, he displays an external air of confidence. That way you're relaxed, because if he's upset and he's disturbed, I know she is.
Well, that makes much sense. That makes a lot of sense. But in the situation where Christine was saying, what I understood you to say was, I'm going to drop you at the door so I can cuss and fuss and throw a tantrum in the car by myself.
Why not? Why not? Why not? They say the best time to trip out is when nobody's around. You know why? Because there is no proof.
See, but then that means we're going to run into a year later where all this time you have been this composed man.
Yeah.
And then a year later, you forgot you had to drop me off to the front door first before you threw the tantrum. Now I see you throw a tantrum.
I'm saying everybody has a moment.
But I guess you could turn it on and turn it off in that amount of time before you get back to her.
Right.
A lot of times people can't do that.
How is it deceptive when you're not trying to deceive her of anything?
I guess I see it a little different than you do, Shaughnessy. So let's say that this happened, and in this particular incident with me, it was a second date, right?
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So, say that is how he handled it, like Herb just said. Instead of having his tantrum right there in front of me, he let me out and he cussed his whole way to find a parking spot. I never saw it when he came in. He was calm and cool, and I didn't see nothing. Right.
Right.
Say a year into the relationship, something like that happens. Well, now we know each other, and you may have more space to be vulnerable, to have those emotions bubble to the top.
So what
But
if
that's
the
how you wanna
dishwasher
start
break
off.
and then he throw the phone to the wall and you like, whoa. The whole time he was throwing tantrums in the closet.
KYP.
Well, having a little cussing fit, versus breaking stuff and throwing stuff is
Making and
totally.
throwing stuff.
Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it bluntly. I'm gonna tell you about me. There are some situations that'll send me sky high. Nobody wants to be around when I have those moments. But I also make sure that those moments are few and far between, because people will look at me differently
Absolutely.
after I exhibit one of those things, and they will say, "Okay,
Right.
is this how he behaves all the time, or is this how he behaves when certain things go a certain way?"
And
We
that's why I
all
feel like
have that
timing is
capability.
important.
You know, I agree with you, Herb. That's true, because there's some things like, okay, for instance, like as a woman, if I have an issue with my guy, you know, you got your girls, you want, or guys got their guys, you go and you vent with your girl about your, you know, your dude, and it's like, yo, why did this dude da 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 da? And we, you know, we get in our conversation, but then when we get in front of him, we be like, hey, you know, calm, you know, we don't want him to see our crazy.
Right. But that's what. But this is why. And see, people think I'm crazy when I ask about the 100 questions. That's one of the 100 questions.
What's
How
one
do
of
you
the
handle your anger?
Oh, okay.
But
it's
that's
gonna be.
really.
I'm telling you, I'm putting out the pamphlets. I might as well get ready for it.
That's how I handle it.
But Herb, that's really, if that's about dating, courting, that's collecting data, finding out about the person. And that's that whole thing of meeting their family, meeting their friends. And it's a 3-point dating. You want to see them when they're happy, you want to see them when they're sad, you want to see them when they're angry. You want to see all those different levels of emotions, because you want to know if you really want to deal with those. Do you have the capacity to deal with those? You don't know off the gate, because people, when you first start talking to someone, they're sending their representative. On the phone, it's their representative. They're giving you just a snippet of who they are. Then when you're going out to dinner, you're getting the representative. They're gonna eat right with the fork. They're gonna do all that. When you know they pick up their steak with their hand at home. You know what I'm saying? You're getting a representative. You're not getting a genuine, authentic person. So you got to collect, like Christine said, seeing that with him in the car was the greatest thing she could ever see, because now she knows, yo, you can't even handle the most minor little stressors. Okay. You can't handle parking. What you gonna do if, you know what I'm saying, somebody
The
breaking my
dishwasher
house or
break.
breaking your house? What you gonna do if somebody, you know, your credit card get compromised? What you gonna do if you don't have nowhere to park in front of your house? Are you gonna, you know what I'm saying? So those are stop. I'm sorry, my dog. So you gotta figure out what you're gonna do with that
Bad as
person.
hell.
Shut up! Don't be talking about my dog.
I be seeing your videos and that dog bad as hell.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry.
He
Go ahead,
really
Annette.
is. She really is bad, Dave.
But this is,
spoiled
but
and
Annette, this is
bad.
precisely what I mean about the 100 questions. And I'm gonna give everybody a laugh. So get ready. This past weekend, Friday, I think it was Friday or Saturday night, I'm checking on the stray cat that I just took in over the winter. Shadow. I call him Shadow because he disappears and reappears out of the shadows. That's how I got the name. Now, I have a door locking system on my door. If I depress one knob, it won't open when I close the door. And if I don't, it'll open. The first time I did it correctly. Went outside, looked for him, didn't see him. Came back in, was doing something else, and went back outside about 5 minutes later. This time I didn't depress the lock. I closed the door behind me, not thinking. Now keep in mind, I'm getting ready to get in the shower, so I'm butt-ass naked.
Uh-oh.
I go back to open the door. The door
That is not a visual that we want to have. You don't have to tell that part.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I gotta tell it because it's part of the scenario. So get ready. So now I'm butt-ass naked. The only thing I got is a white dress shirt. I have no phone, nobody I can call. My brother's probably asleep. He's the only one that has a spare key. So what do I have to do? I have to put on the shirt. Thankfully, it was long enough. Go around between my house and my neighbor's house, man.
Yo,
Go over the back
dude.
fence.
Yo,
You had a
geez.
dress
And
on?
climb in the back
Yo,
window.
yeah. That shit ain't hit no nothing.
I need some mind bleach.
Gotta utilize what I'm saying.
I need a man in
Yeah.
black moment right now.
I'm just
Yeah.
simply saying. Does a person that you're with have the ability, have self-deprecating ability to laugh at themselves and to tell stories like that? This is why I don't send a representative when I date. You getting me? You getting a Herbert L. Lewis, loving every woman is simple, cute with a dimple. I'm putting it out there for you. So you
Wait,
can decide
say
what you
it
want.
again. Say it again.
Herbert
Right.
L. Lewis,
Say it
loving every woman is simple, cute with a dimple. You getting me?
Oh
Like
my
Billy Joe said in the
God.
song.
Oh
You
my
might be right,
The big
I
bad
might be crazy,
wolf.
but I could be just a lunatic you're looking
Big
for.
bad wolf is in the house.
I'm just saying, why would you want to waste time with somebody who's going to actively keep up a facade so you can't figure out who they are, so you don't know who they are?
That's true. That's true. But you
I'm
know, I
gone.
mean, I
I'm
can't.
not
I
even
think
hanging
the
around.
facade is
Playing
gonna
Dr.
fall
Duckers for
over
the bill,
time.
and
That's,
I'm gone.
I think my thought process was the facade was gonna fall over time, but I do feel like Christine's point was very valid. There's gonna be small telltale signs. In the meantime, in between time, to kind of give you a preview of what could be.
That's true.
Yeah.
If y'all don't mind, we're gonna move on to this next point segment. Now, ladies, I know y'all don't want to hear this, but we're gonna talk about these listening skills. He wants a good listener. Can you be that for him? Can you
What?
be
No.
that person? The man, he wants a good listener. Can you be that person for him? Because again, women speaks 20,000 words a day, men speak 7,000. So somebody doing a whole lot of talking and not listening. So how does that work?
What's the question?
The irony of that question. Oh my
Exactly.
goodness.
You were
That's
not
the
listening.
problem.
Who got some little Debbie snack cakes? Throw them at her.
Are you able to be an effective listener with your man?
Oh yeah, that. Okay. Yes.
You knew the question.
What are we listening to? What are we listening to? You vent? Like what am I listening
Girl,
to?
just be effective at it.
My grandmother used to always say, she used to tell me, she's like, sometimes you just gotta let a man talk. Just let him talk.
That's true.
She's
'Cause y'all
like,
talk a lot.
I'm not even gonna even go back and forth. Your granddaddy just be talking. He be JBTing, just be talking, pretty much. Are you willing to do that? And sometimes that's all a man need. Like, okay, like I guess it's kind of funny because sometimes when y'all don't say anything, we were like, "Oh, you ain't got shit to say." Because
Right.
I guess
I was just about to say.
we're used to you saying something, so we don't like that response. So I don't know. Throw this question out the window.
Somebody mentioned something about being dismissive and being a bad communicator, and I was told I was dismissive earlier, and I was a bad communicator because I was listening. I was like, okay, like valid. Like, what do you want? Like, what do you want me to say?
I think sometimes guys like to be validated. They want their feelings to be
And
validated.
see what you just did to the dog? That's probably what you do to your man. The dog telling on you. See,
I think
that's why blow her in. Blow her in.
I think when you ask that question, Dave, I think the whole thing about that is, again, I always say men are very simple, and that goes along with that, how we communicate. We always ready. Well, some of us, I'm not gonna say we. Some of us is always ready for a rebuttal, or we always ready to respond. And sometimes men are just really. They just want to outlet. Okay, they just want to communicate. They want to, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm. And they normally don't say this is how I'm feeling. This is what I was thinking about. This is what I, been on my mind or whatever. And many times, sometimes we're in that fix it mode. We're trying to fix it.
Yeah.
And they don't really need us to fix it. They just need us to listen. And so
I,
that's what that question to me comes out to be.
Right.
Are you a good listener? Is basically do you have the ability to hear what I'm saying, comprehend it, and then not ready to fix it? Just listen to me.
Listen to understand and not to reply.
Mhm.
Yeah.
but if you think about what she just said, that's not necessarily not understanding what you're listening to, but it's just not.
Hmm.
I guess it's kind of discerning when it's time to just listen
Yes.
and not
Mhm.
go into fix it mode. Because I can remember being told once, so somebody was telling me about something, and I was very intensely listening. And when I got through talking, I was like, well, maybe, you could try XYZ or, da 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 da. And they told me, um, I don't need a solution. I just needed you to listen.
Ouch.
So,
Mm.
Yeah. I've been told
And
that
then when
several
you
times.
just listen, you
hmm,
don't have an opinion.
I was told that too, Christine, but this person, it wasn't one person. It was a couple guys I was talking to. It was like,
hmm.
I don't want to be your patient, and I don't want you to try to figure out a way for me. I just need you to listen to me. And that's when I
Hmm.
realized that the person who thought they had good communication skills, I didn't, because I
Hmm.
was always ready to repair something or fix it. So then I have
Right.
to be conscious and really, really hard press on myself to say, okay, just listen.
Yeah.
Don't
It,
respond to
and
this
that's what
until
it
they
taught me.
ask you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, until they
Yeah.
ask you, don't respond to this. Because I was
So
so
it,
ready. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna
right.
contact them. We're gonna get this all set up. Then you're gonna have them come to your house. They're gonna dig this up. They're gonna do this. And he was looking at me like, no, I don't need you to control nothing or give me a solution. I just need you to listen.
Right. So that was like you pretty much said, Annetta, was like a wake up call about how I listen, you know. So from that I kind of learned how to just sit back and listen and wait for cues that they want some ideas about
Yeah.
how to solve it instead of automatically. And I think that just comes from parenting. You just go into fix it mode. You go into I'm a solution oriented person anyway.
Mhm.
So it was just natural for me to, okay, well, why don't you try to da 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 da, and so it just taught me something new. So I could see um why men say that, you know, you,
And,
can
and
we
it,
listen effectively?
and to go to Vicky point, she said men don't want you to fix it anyways.
Well,
They
oh,
will ask their men friends later, and they will come up with a solution. I ain't getting no goddamn feedback from my damn men friends. Not like that.
Yeah,
Not
my no, they
seriously.
ain't doing that either.
Not seriously. Whatever. I might get
Wait,
bits
why
and
not?
pieces. Nah, because we
Cause
got too much.
one of the things
We
they
got too
got
much
too much
history.
pride,
Whatever. Yeah, we got
and
this.
it's pride, and on top of that, other men don't want other men to know. And I'm not. Y'all can correct me if wrong. That there is a problem here. You know what I'm saying?
True.
They're
I
not too
mean,
welcome to do that. So that information, that what she put is not always correct. Um, I don't know,
See,
and I
that
think
that could be what's
For me
wrong
and
with like.
Christine, I would say for me and Christine, we're a little older, and our fix it mode is because we're entrepreneurs, we own our own business, so we're always in solution based situations. We're always in correct the problem. We're always in got to get ahead of the game, and that's not in Lakia because you do your own. So we're always in that mode on top of mother and grandmother mode. So whenever you get in your relationship, you ain't thinking, oh, let me take this hat off and go back to my original state. No, you're like, I'm always in this mode. I'm working this mode all the time.
or
You
at
know what I'm
least
saying?
if somebody is expressing a problem to you, it sends you into that mode. So it's not
Right.
like you stay in that mode 24/7, like you're with your significant other. It's not necessarily that you're in that business or parent mode or whatever, but when they
Right.
express something to you that you see, as an issue for them, that's when you just kind of go into that mode. It's like automatic.
Yeah.
So,
I
So
had
it's
this guy I was dating one time, and he was talking to me. We was dating for probably about 8 months or something. And probably like within the 6 or 7 month, I kind of had checked out, but I hadn't checked out physically. And he came to me and was like, "Man, my car, something's going on with my car." And it was a fairly new car, but it was, it was a foreign car, so it was going to be really expensive. And he was like, "I got to do this, I got to do this." And he was off of work for a while. He was a cop, so he was off for a while because he had messed up his shoulder. And so he came to me. He was like, "Yeah, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to get this done. Got to get this done." Because I had checked out of the relationship that we were in, I heard him, but there was no response. Okay.
I wouldn't have responded
So,
either.
Yeah, because I don't got nothing for you, bro.
Listen, it was literally no.
I'll
But
pray
I'm a
for you.
giver. I'm a person that
One
gives.
goddamn
I would
list
have
of
been.
repairs and shit.
I would have been like, okay, yeah, well, here, you use this, and then you just pay on it, or you give it back to me, or whatever. But I was so checked out the relationship. So when he came and he was like, "Oh, I had to spend $3,000, my car, or whatever." I never forget this day. This one I knew. I was like, "Girl, your marriage done did a doozy on you." I turned to him. I was like, "I don't know why we keep having this conversation. If you fixed it, why are we having this conversation again? It's done. Let's move on to something else."
Thank you.
I knew that. I was like, "Girl,
you
get
still had
your stuff and be gone." Huh?
So he
Yeah, it was
still had
time
the
to go.
conversation, even after he got the car fixed. He was still
But
talking
it was
about
time
what
to
it
go.
cost him.
So he was venting.
Yeah.
So it was time to
But
go.
no,
It
you
was time
ain't-
for him to go.
Yeah.
Why would you
Yeah,
even
I
be
was like,
venting about something you already got done?
exactly.
do
So
that.
You're looking
my
for
time-
you're
Going
looking
away,
for,
maybe? I
for
don't know.
some reimbursement somewhere.
Right. He wanted
I
her
was
to
looking
buy
for
dinner
it, but
and,
when I
and,
said
and pay the
Exactly,
utilities for
something.
the time being.
it
Exactly.
came out so raw, like it was like I didn't even let him finish the second sentence. I was like, "Did you get it done? You did." I knew I was nasty
Well,
when
no,
I was
neither.
like, "I'm over
Thank
it. Why we keep talking about this? It's done. It's completed. So why is it still a conversation? You know what?
Right,
You
so
and
it'd
I
be
people
have
a
need
to
to
conversation.
go.
self-reflect, man.
We
Some
need to
people
go
got
our
to
separate
reflect.
ways."
And
So
he might he
listen,
also
Some
might
people
be the
gotta
type of
reflect.
individual that holds
Yeah.
on to things and he doesn't know how to release them. You have a lot of people
Nah,
that
that ain't what that was.
no. I'm
nah,
not saying it was. I'm
that
just saying
wasn't
you
He
it.
have
was
some
trying,
people
he was
like
trying
that.
to get a feel for if she's gonna
No,
do some
you
reimbursement.
right. I had to get checked on that because I'm a type of person that I love men watches. So I would buy them dates. If I see a watch, I don't care how much it is, I'm gonna buy it. So I guess in his head, it was around Christmas time. We had just started. It was like 4 or 5
Oh
months in. I bought
yeah.
him a
He
nice
was setting
expensive
it up.
watch. So he thought like, "Oh, let me tell her about this car situation,
So you
whatever."
you ain't getting
She
nothing
go,
for Christmas.
right. So I'm looking at him like, "Yeah, nah, bro. If you think you gonna even remotely, I'm gonna give you a card, money to this. Nah, bro. This is not gonna happen. You gonna
That's
scoot
what
or
that
skedaddle."
was.
That's what it
That's
was. And I
exactly what he
knew
was
it.
looking
But
for.
I had
Oh, yeah.
already checked out the relationship. One, I checked out the relationship. Not that I'm really like this, but I was buying him expensive gifts, and this ninja was giving me gift cards. That peed me off. I was really peed off for that. I was like, why? And I said to him, "Why you keep buying
Stop
me
celebrating
gift
all that
cards?"
shit, man. That's the solution.
That way you go get what you want. I ain't getting you nothing. Go get what you want. Here, take
They
these gift
wasn't
cards.
even like equated to the amounts of money that I spent. I'm like, "You can stop
course
buying me
not.
gift cards." And I'm
course
like,
not.
And then there's no thought in it either. You just buy
It's
it.
That's
no
the part that
thought.
gets
Right.
me.
That's why you give them to her, so she
That's
get what she
that's the
wants.
part that gets me.
So
I don't
y'all,
care
so
if you
y'all
gave
looking
me a
for
card.
the equivalent amount.
No,
like
it's not about
No,
the
I'm looking
equivalent.
for the
I'm
thought.
saying the thought.
Yes, the
Dave, I
thought.
don't
And you
care about
find
you
you're
doing that
buying
face.
gift cards. There's a thought into it.
Right.
I've been known to buy gift cards.
That it just depends on the situation. But in that instance with that man, he was doing maintenance. He
Right.
thought he was
That's
doing
it.
maintenance.
That's
Let me
it.
throw her
Yeah.
this, so
Right.
she'll keep giving and doing for me.
Yeah, that's all that was. And when that well ran dry, then you started doing that subliminal begging. Like, bruh, don't even do it.
Who's Wolf?
That's
That's
Shaughnessy.
my
Is that
dog.
Cujo? Tell Cujo to go to bed.
I don't know what he beefing with outside.
Who was Vicky G?
That is funny.
What's good?
You might need to check it out.
Hey, what's up?
What's
What's
that?
going on?
Can
Who's
you
that?
hear me?
Yeah, we hear
It's
you.
Vicky. So,
What's
David,
going
you
on?
trying to tell me that you don't go to your male friends and ask things?
No, see. This is a difference with
Ask what?
this is a difference with guy friends.
Okay, I'm listening.
They're different when it's 3 or 4 of us around each other, but one-on-one, it's a different conversation. So me, I'm kind of private with stuff. I'm not just gonna throw stuff out there because I'm gonna pay attention how people gonna handle it. You're not gonna clown me if I'm down about something because I wouldn't do that to you. So you have to pay attention to your personnel who's gonna do it. So I'm not gonna be one quick to be like, hey, what you doing? Let's go out, let's hang out, let's I got something I want to run across you. Nah, that ain't me. They're more liable to reach out to me for that because they know they're probably gonna get the same reaction every time. I'm not gonna
So they'll
change
reach
up.
Oh, you
I'm not
don't
gonna
change up. They reach out to you more, huh?
Yeah, I'm not gonna change up how because another person's around. I'm gonna give it to him. I'm gonna get it real.
I'm trying to figure out, why do women think they have to fix their men? What is that about?
Oh.
I know.
Very good
Do
question.
you really want to go that route tonight?
I mean, yeah, let's
Have
go.
a fix
Let's
any
go there,
man.
because
That's
how do you
actually
I don't think
fix your man?
that's
If
because
your man
trying to
comes
reshape-
in,
Hold on.
Gotta
Hold on. We got the CEO of the Black. Let him get it
Uh-oh.
because he was in actually first. Go ahead,
come
brother.
on.
because this is something that Black women picked up from slavery.
Who
Uh-oh.
is this
Lord,
voice?
We went back to slavery.
And it carried on through the culture.
Okay.
So in other words, a lot of times in Black culture, Black women do not respect Black male authority. See, where it is, you'll either look at him as the man of the house or another child. So what
Most
happens? You just got finished talking about, oh, I gotta fix this problem. See, this is the reason why men need friends outside their relationship, especially other men, because guess what? A lot of solutions that work for Black women do not necessarily work for Black men.
Yeah,
So
that's a given.
I agree with that.
and then you got to realize a lot of Black men get men who are stable and have leadership qualities, but guess what those men usually say? He's trying to control me. No, he's just got experience. That's why typically any other relationship on the planet, you have the younger women with older men. It's only in the Western world you actually see men and women marry around the same age. Usually it's different.
Your background noise is taking over. It
Somebody
sounds
else.
like you're drowning.
That's somebody else who was
Oh, look, it's perfect now.
somebody else's who had their mic open. So a lot of people don't like it when you bring up a lot of the culture we still have from slavery. But when you actually go down and look and research it, how many women back then looked at the master as the man and their men as somebody they gotta protect?
Mm-hmm.
How many Black women said, I'm gonna beat my child so the master don't have to try to protect that boy? Even now, do we put our boys in positions to become leaders, or just men that has a lot of money and to their women?
are you asking a question? Are you really asking a question?
I mean, if somebody wants to answer it, do we put our boys?
I know statistically, and it's been said And it saddened me to hear that there may be a lot of women out there that are not teaching their young men to be leaders, but I'm by far one of those women. I teach my sons, or I'm raising men. I'm raising men. I'm raising to be a man. And
But here's the question I have to ask you. Can a woman teach a boy to be a man?
This is one thing I can do. Let me say this, and I can answer for myself. My opinion. My opinion
Let
is
me
there
get a
are
glass
some
of
things
wine.
that I could teach
my
them
mouth.
about life, and that is respect. I can teach them about respect. I can teach them how to treat a woman. Would be how a way to treat a woman. I can teach them how to the value of working hard, and I can teach them um, principles of life that is
With due
that
respect.
can help
What
benefit
should,
them in the long run of in things that they may have to address in life. I can teach them like I'm gonna give you examples. I'm gonna
hold
an
on,
example.
hold on,
Let
hold
me
on,
give
hold
you
on, hold on, hold on,
questions.
hold on.
I want to
Hold
give
on.
you an answer.
I just want to ask you a question. Repeat
You
back my
do it,
question.
and I'm still trying to answer it.
Can a woman teach a
There's
boy to
a
be
lot
a
of
man?
things
That's
I
the
can
problem.
teach them a lot of things. Yeah, I can that can help contribute
But
to
you
the
can
man
never
that
teach
they're going
him
to
to be a
become.
man.
Yes, I can teach them how
How
some
much
things
experience do you have
man
in
that they
being
can
a
be.
man?
The only thing that's different between some of the things that are different between a woman and a man is that what men have penises and women don't. We have vaginas. Y'all don't have breasts. We do. You know, y'all
Does the
don't have
world treat
menstrual
men and
Wait,
women
cycles.
the
so
same?
But there's things of life.
Does
General
men and women get treated?
general things. Let me
Let me
finish.
ask you this question.
No,
Do both
how can I
men and
no,
black
no,
women get
I
treated
would
the
like to
same?
finish, please.
No, I'm
I
going to
can
answer
teach them
for
how to
you.
respect
No.
someone. Respect goes a long way. A respect can be taught.
No,
That's across gender. That's
but
across
here's
gender.
the
Is
problem.
respect.
Are men and women treated the same in society?
You know,
they aren't. I'll answer they aren't.
right. You want to
They
keep
aren't treated the
So,
same. Men
so
and
another,
women are not treated the
they're not
same, and
treated the
women
same.
cannot. I mean,
No.
far as what I'm concerned, women cannot teach young boys how to be men. It's totally impossible because we are not men. We are not men. We don't carry the weight of men,
You
so
know, I
we cannot
agree.
teach. We cannot teach
Teach them some things.
boys how to be men. It's
No,
impossible.
I think
And to me,
right. I agree with
I
that.
mean, I think that what I can teach my sons, with being a mother of 3 sons, grown sons, what I can teach them is how a woman should conduct herself and what to expect from a woman.
Right.
Okay. But I definitely cannot teach him. That's why I stepped back with their father when we were together, because I can't teach them how to be a man.
that's
I can't
respect.
teach them something that I have no, I have no capacity of. I have no foundation of. Only men
Right.
I know of is my grandfather, my father, and all of my uncles, who were great men, but they wasn't my son's father. So their father had to teach them that role, along with their grandfather, their uncles, and the male figures that was in my family.
And
There's
you know
certain
what?
boundaries I did not cross because I
And you
knew
know what?
as a
And
woman I could not do that.
Well,
I
I'm
gotta
going to really
in that
say that
honest
I'm
because
not
I gotta
saying
ask
that
this question. I gotta ask the ladies this question, right?
if we can finish the answer. I just want to answer.
Hold on, because the answer was already answered.
But
But let me finish with this one. So, in this retrospect, going back to your question, why do women think they need to fix men?
ain't nobody. Ain't
Is it because they trust men, or do they think the man is going to fail them?
I don't think it's a whole thing of failing. And I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't think it's a whole point of failing. I believe
Women are
that
nurturers.
as nurturers, that's an automatic reflex.
Yeah.
That's an automatic reflex for us. I don't really, truly, I don't think it's a whole thing of failing. Now, does that happen in some relationships? Yes, it does. But I don't think we come out the gate like, oh, we know you're going to fail at this, so let me go ahead and
I
step
want to
in.
fix you
No,
so
I
bad.
honestly, right. I think we honestly go into that mode we're always ready to nurture. We're always ready to make sure everyone is good. And I believe that's the mindset that we go into. Okay. And far as what Lakita was saying, I get what she was saying about, when you're a single mom and you have voice, there's a different level of understanding with men and women and what you teach them. I can't speak on her level because I never was a single mom. So I don't know. We shared responsibilities. So I can't say, oh, what her thought process is wrong. I just know what my upbringing was with my dad and my grandfather and all of them, and what I did in my household with my husband. So I can't speak on hers, but I would want to say, standing on this and knowing what I've been brought up around, I can't, it's totally impossible. Even now, with my sons being grown men, I'm still hands off with some things because I'm not a man. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things their father has to come in and be like, oh, da 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 da. And I'm quick to say to them, yo, you might need to have this conversation with your dad because, yeah,
I
I'm
sometimes
not
turn
good in
up
that
my
area.
nose and I be like, ew, did you tell your father? Like, why are you talking
Can I
about
say this? I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say, I think I have my son answer that question. He's 30 years old, and I want to have him come on here and answer that question. His
But
mother
at
taught him.
30, I
He's
mean,
30 years old. He's 30,
but
and
I
But,
mean, and
but this is the
granted,
caveat, though.
I
I'm
think
gonna
let's
let him
not get it
answer that.
confused. Let's not get can a woman teach a man how to be a man confused with can you be successful at parenting and can you
Right.
parent and raise a
Thank you.
productive
That's not the
child?
same
Totally
thing.
different.
Because you can
Yeah.
raise a productive child as a single mother,
Yes. Yeah.
but there is going to be some deficiencies and deficits if that
And we
child grows
got to
up
be
without
honest with
a
that.
male
We
figure
got to
in
be
his
honest
life.
with that.
It's nothing you could do. It's not that you didn't want the best. It's not that you didn't try the
Right.
best.
And this is how you cut.
And that's the
This is how you
same
Well
cut
thing
the
we
said,
have to be
bullshit.
honest.
Chauncey.
That's the same
Very
thing
well
we
said,
have with
Chauncey.
that's the same thing we have with girls.
Right.
When you don't have your father around, there is a void that we tend to try to fill with everyone else. It's a normal thing. And for anyone to think that that is not possible, you will later find out. You may not find out when they 5, you may
Right.
not find out when they 15, you may not find out when they 25. But I guarantee you, at some point in life, that void gonna come up like, "Hey, I'm the void
Right.
that's always been here."
Absolutely.
I'm
You
gonna
know what
I'm
I'm
gonna say
saying?
something. I'm gonna say something to that, right? I'm gonna give you a short story. Of course, I'm been a police officer for almost 15 years in Baltimore City. Answer a call for a woman who's saying, "Well, I don't want my daughter to go with her father. Her daughter's 13." This pretty much sums up what goes on in the community. Mom's on some psycho, whatever medication for her psyche. Couple of them. She showed me. Didn't want to see it, but she showed me. Well, I'm dealing with all this. One, you're dealing with too much stress. Two, your daughter wants her father. Has the father ever abused her? No. Then why are you keeping it? Well, I don't feel as though. No. Your feelings does not matter compared to what your daughter feels about her father. Your feelings about him does not matter. Ma'am, you got to understand that girl who's seeking her father's love needs it. You prevent her from being with her father, you're going to be a grandmother this time next year. And here's the crazy part. She looked at me the same way. And I said, you know I'm telling the truth. And here's the issue. Too many women have tried to put on the burdens that they don't need to put on. And like you said earlier about the fixing. And what we have in our community as Black people, almost a distrust, actually not even almost, a distrust and disdain to male leadership. And when the father says something, even if you're not in the same house, but it's for the betterment of that child needs a father, whether it's a boy or girl, because the rule of thumb is a father is a boy's first hero and a girl's first love. And too many times we neglect that and we think that we could do it all by ourselves. Yes, you can teach your boys to be good people. Yes, you could teach them to be productive people, but here's the difference. A man sometimes has to be vicious. A man sometimes has to be ruthless. A man sometimes has to be calculating. A man has to sometimes respect authority and a hierarchy, because there are men who just outrank him until he reaches that rank himself. And what happens, you go up and we have to train our boys to compete with other men, and we wonder why they're lacking when they become men, because we did not put just something as small as having your boy make a decision on what to have for dinner shows him to teach him how to make decisions. Something small as that.
Well, I don't want to cut you off, but the thing is, it's like this. The one thing I want to share is this. Some women, I'm a competitive woman. I know how, I taught my boys and I teach my girls how to be competitive as well. We're a sports family. And the one thing that I asked my son, I sent him the link. He coming on. Let a young man speak for me. I don't have to speak for myself. He
But
coming.
I think you're missing.
And I want
what
to.
you're
No,
missing.
let me finish. Let me finish, honey. No, I'm not missing the point. I hear exactly what you're saying. Like, how can a woman teach a man to be competitive? How can he teach him?
We're not talking about competing, though.
He could.
We're not talking about competing.
No,
One at a
we're not
time. One
talking
at a
about
time.
competing.
Can I please finish? I'll let y'all finish. I'm just trying to say.
But it's not the point of you finishing. It's the point of you making the wrong statement of what was said.
Okay,
it was said teaching a man how to be a man. Nobody said everybody on here competitive.
No.
We all
I'm
play
not.
some type of
This
sport.
is the part, Annetta. No disrespect, sweetie. No disrespect. I'm saying this. Everybody harpers on the fact that a woman can't teach a man how to be a man, and a man can't teach a woman how to be a woman.
Boy how to be a man.
A boy how to be a man. How is it? The thing is this: the principles of life. Principles. There's some things that a man has to go through that a woman. I can't tell my son. I can teach him to hold your penis and pee, okay? But how that whole
no, you can't. You don't have a penis.
I can't do that.
Okay.
But that's one factor right there.
Life.
This is exactly
that's the case. All my sons would have sat down and pissed.
Can I say finish?
Exactly, because they messy as hell.
This is exactly what I was talking about.
The principles of life. Teach him, and that will help him become the man he's going to be.
No, he's going to be a good person. He's going to be a good person.
I'm
That's
gonna
not
put
what
it
we're
this
saying.
way.
What we're letting you know is what we're letting you
one
know.
at a time.
What we're trying to help you understand is that we're not doubting your ability.
My opinion. My opinion.
You can raise a good person. A man can raise a daughter as a good girl. She could be a good person. She could be a productive member of society. She could have manners. He can even put her in all the etiquette classes that he wants to.
Let him speak. Let him speak.
It's irrelevant. We're the same age.
He's a man. Let him speak.
We're the same age, and I'm a girl exactly. But I'm a girl. I'm a girl whose mom died at 14. My father could not teach me how to do things.
Can I add something? Can I add something in this? Even like when guys with girls, you're gonna have to get some. If you're a guy raising a younger, you're going to seek other women advice on how to do things. You're going to constantly go to them for advice, whatever.
I'm saying that you can't tell me I can't teach him something to help him become a man.
You cannot teach a boy to be a man.
Okay, he's on here. Can he speak? Can he speak?
Can I ask what's the topic of the conversation?
Well, the topic. Go ahead. Somebody tell me the reason. Can a woman teach a young boy
how to be a man?
Okay. Wow. So personally, I feel as if there are many qualities that a woman cannot teach. There's many qualities that a woman cannot contribute to a boy becoming a man, but there are other qualities that she can, in fact, be a part of.
And that's the exact point that
Thank you,
everybody
honey. That's
has
what we
made.
said. Thank
That is
you.
the
Everybody's
exact
saying.
point that we have
That's
all
That's what
made.
everybody's saying.
That is
That's what
exactly
we
what we
said.
have all
Thank
That's
you.
said.
exactly what everybody
You
said.
are a very good
hold
young
on.
man.
Can
Your
I
mother
cut
did a
in
great
for a
job.
second?
Let me
No,
ask
let
him a
him
question.
finish. Can he finish? You just
Yes,
finished
I know.
talking. Can he finish?
I'm gonna ask him a question that's going to allow him to finish. You served in the military, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you think if you had not served in the military that you would be the man that you are?
100%. I joined the military late. I joined when I was 25, 26. I was kind of already established in who I was as a man. So it never really contributed to who I am now. But I will say that so I was unfortunate. My father was you know what I mean, he was in prison for a great part of my adolescent to adult years. So, you know, there's things that they had to get filled in by, you know, other father figures and my mother. So it's like she contributed to me becoming a man, but there are things that I got from other men.
Males.
Right.
Like,
I didn't say he
Thank
couldn't.
you, son.
I didn't say
I
he
said
didn't.
that. Thank you.
That's what you
Thank you,
said.
son.
I didn't.
I don't
Thank you,
That's what
son.
we were
but
saying to you, Lakia. You are
I
capable.
don't think
Every woman on this earth is capable
Yeah.
of raising
what
a
I
good
would say,
human being.
hold up.
You
I
raised
would
a good human being, but you can't teach him what
Like,
he just
like
said. The
what
valid
I
things in
David,
life he needed
I'm,
from a
I'm,
man.
this
I'm,
sound
He
familiar?
had to get that from other men.
I'm
But
gonna
he
say
did,
this.
like he said, there's things that you deposit in him that made him as well-rounded as we said as
That's what
mothers.
I'm
You know what
saying.
I'm saying?
No, you said no,
I know what
Nana.
the
You said,
problem
"Oh, I
is.
No,
took
Hold
your
baby.
on,
hair
hold on,
off."
hold
No,
on.
your
I
son,
know what the
your
problem
son
is.
just
Right?
said what I said.
I know what the problem
Hold
is,
on.
right?
Let me
I
say
know
this.
what the problem is, right? And I just got it. See, when women, when a lot of modern women,
Oh, cut it.
Oh my
He
God.
ain't gonna do that. No, he ain't letting you do
Good
that.
work,
Ain't nobody
Nah.
officer.
even think. Ain't
Good
nobody.
when a
word,
lot of
He
modern
ain't even
women
about to
hear
do
that
that
phrase,
modern woman
not
stuff.
Can we
He
get
ain't
modern
the
even
women,
about to do
but
that.
modern
women.
part
Man,
out?
Hold
modern
on, hold
man. What
on.
are you about
When
to
they
say?
hear the phrase, a woman cannot teach a boy to be a man, they think that, oh, I can't teach him anything. No.
That's not what he
Absolutely.
Usually,
said either.
You
usually
said there,
from
and there's
usually
all
from
kind of modern women
that's
as
what
we
they
put it on the
Can
that's
we
what
get
they
channel
the
that
modern
were in
woman part
just
out
like
disagreement
that.
though?
with the idea.
Just
They
like
were in
that.
agreement with that.
Because a lot of women out there hate that because, oh, I could teach my son. Yes, you're supposed to teach your son. But there's some point in the world where that boy is going to have to be accountable and judged by other men. It's the one thing to
And
be
guess what?
respected by women.
And
Hold on, hold on, hold on. There's one thing to be judged and compete against men. There's another thing to be judged by women. Because guess what? The biggest problem in the black community today is that a lot of our boys are not able to compete against other men. Why? Because they were never taught it. And a lot of these boys were kept away
Go
from it.
away.
They were kept
Oh,
away
sorry.
from it.
What do you mean by compete against other men? Like in
that's
what
what I'm
type of
saying.
sense?
Because men have to compete against other men for jobs.
So wait,
Men
so
have to compete. Guess what? If you
Okay,
had
let
a
him.
business,
Then my son have a question. Then.
you
no,
had
no,
a business.
I'm just trying to get
Hold on,
clarity.
In
hold on.
other
Wait,
words,
one moment.
a
Lakia,
lot of stuff, a lot of
just what
stuff
you
in our
did
community.
is the very point that we're making. You
Yeah,
didn't have to do that for your son. He could have said that himself. That's just what people are speaking about, and that's what Officer Falker is talking about, is that a man has a voice. Allow him to use that voice and stop mothering him.
I
yeah.
just said let him talk. He
Hold,
won't let
hold
him talk.
on, because he asked me a question. I'm answering it to
He won't even
clarify.
let him
He asked
finish.
for clarification. Correct?
Yes,
You asked,
officer.
you asked for clarification. Because one, when you go
I
out
love
there,
Lakia.
when you go out there in the world, you got to compete against other men for resources,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You got to go. What branch of the service you were in?
I'm in the Air Force.
Air Force. You got to compete against the next man for your rank,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
if you come 8 up and you're not squared away, what happens?
I mean, you're gonna get overlooked in a sense. You're gonna get overlooked for that next promotion in a sense. Yeah.
And then you got 3 strikes against you, right?
Mm,
You know what those 3 strikes are?
sort of, kind of like, not entirely, but yeah.
I'll answer it. Black, male, straight.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, that's a real thing now.
Let me give a little bit of his credentials. He is a staff sergeant. He has received 7 awards by his peers. And his let me just I'm just going to
So, no, hold up.
This is what happens when you have a starting mother.
Let me
She's so
just
proud of her son.
Hold up. Let me ask a question. So your idea, your state, so you said that, you know what I mean, not having a man in your life, you competing against other men, kind of like, I guess they're at a disadvantage by not having like a man in their life when it comes to like outside world.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
That's what he's
okay,
saying.
so let me ask this.
But Jalen has
So
other men in
during
his life.
those, how old are y'all? How old are y'all exactly?
They old, baby. Go on.
So,
They old.
so my thing is this: during the time, that's funny. So during the 90s, the
You was wrong
80s
for that,
and
Anetta.
90s of the heart and soul, the crack era, when you did have a lot of fathers being in prison, did those men suffer by not having their fathers in life, or did those younger men,
Completely.
were they able to
suffered.
still
Completely.
contribute and become men
Completely.
themselves?
They
Completely.
suffered. I'm gonna tell you how they suffered.
No, they suffered. I'm not saying they didn't suffer. They
Oh, it
suffered.
was a big suffering because
But-
one, you got to look at it, right? A
Okay.
lot of young men suffered because of either A, daddy locked up, B,
Yeah.
mom keeping the child away from him, or
Yeah.
C, some unknown reasons.
And the parents on crack.
When you keep, nobody can love you like a mother, but nobody can build your confidence like a father. And a lot of young men out there are lacking that because
Say that
you
again,
gotta think about
officer. Say
it.
that
And
again.
and nobody
Say
can
that
love you
one
like
more
a mother,
time.
but nobody can build your confidence like a father. And I'm gonna give you
That is
one.
accurate.
My
That's a lot right
ex-girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend said this one thing. And she's a divorcee of 4 children from her marriage. And she said this one story that stuck out. And I have to give Sharon her credit. Thank God she noticed this shit. She said she was working in Morgan State. And she thought this white guy was her boss because he was dictating orders. And she said to this, we had this meeting, so okay, go in the office to meet the whoever's the boss or whoever's the supervisor. Because the way that white man was acting in that arena, she thought he was the supervisor. Come to find out, it was a black man who was the supervisor of not only her but that white guy. And that black guy, she said, and I quote, never looked him in the eye, always looked away, looked unsure, even took orders from the white guy. And that's
you
what
saying this because of the mother, because he didn't have a father in his life?
you can tell. That's what happens to a lot of boys when they don't have fathers or father figures in their lives.
So you telling me they excuse me guys, but you telling me they ain't no men out here that ain't no punk? They don't have no backbone?
Guess what?
Let me say this.
They can't teach a man, they can't teach their sons because they don't have it to teach them.
A lot of what happens in our community is because of a suffering of a lack of respect for male authority. You have to learn it from other men because other men are going to hold you accountable in a much different way than women will. Because trust me, you don't think so? Let me put it to you this way.
If I can say something,
I'm going to give you an example. Hold up. When me and other dudes walk down the street, right? I got to let me and Herb walk down the street. I can't disrespect Herb because we already know if we get in a fight, 2 men get in a fight, one of us may not go home.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to have that type of respect for each other right then and there. And you must have that type of respect to talk it out, yell it out, fight it out, and get back to what you need to plan. Because a lot of what happened is, if you have to notice in education, there's a real big push to suppress masculinity. Okay? Especially black masculinity, because if you get the most dangerous damn thing in America is an intelligent, brave, confident black man.
You know what? Can I speak now, sir? Can I please have a moment? Please. I'm begging you, officer of the law.
Lakia, just go ahead.
Hold on. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Oh, Mississippi.
Okay, take y'all.
So this is the thing I'm striving to say. He's on the phone, and the thing is, this is absolute. I have said specifically, I can't teach him everything, but I can teach him confidence. One thing, by the grace of God, I remember one time he came home, he was sad, he was scared. I don't know if you remember, it's a couple times he was scared as a young man because his father was not there. And he was scared. I mean, he was sad about something, maybe one time when his dad went to jail. And I had to speak life into him. I had to pour life into him because who was there? I was there. I had to say, listen, or whatever it may be. If it was after a football game and he was sad about the football game, or upset with how the outcome of that was, or it was something where he was acting up in school and I had to show up at the school, and I had to speak life into him because who else was going to do that? Nobody else was. And I'm not saying nobody. I'm not saying he had other women in his family. And actually, it was a tribe of women that helped raise this young man. So me, my mother, my grandmother, his aunt Tia, it was a whole bunch of women. My aunt was raising this young man, and we were a woman.
You did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
And you did an exceptional job.
This is big.
So,
wait.
listen, hold on.
Grandfather, and he did have a bunch of women helping raise this young man.
I want to speak to this because
y'all about to get put on mute.
My mother raised.
I didn't get to finish.
3 sons.
I keep getting like.
I just want to give it a nutshell, whatever. As the host, my mother raised 3 sons, and we are productive. Work, higher education, whatever we do, and we were raised by predominantly women's family, aunts and stuff like that. We had our grandfather and stuff like that, but I guess the whole point is, without us having male influence, whether I was in sports, different counselors, advisors, and stuff like that. I'm not going to say minimize and say we wasn't going to make it, but that was the extra advantage of having someone like that. And my brothers, they had their people, they joined the Nation of Islam, so they had different leadership for them. So I guess basically they're saying you don't want to, you want to kind of have a fine line to say like, hey, and give credit. I wouldn't say like dismiss men, like you could have did it on by yourself, because I don't know with that task you could do like a man with a daughter. You're gonna need somebody to help you out. Mm-hmm. You're gonna need somebody the opposite sex. So I wouldn't say that like, oh, I could do it, because your son, it was some men, and he had some influences, whether it was his uncles or someone, coaches or someone. It's just you can't do that by yourself. You can't.
No one said that you couldn't, but you can't tell a woman that she couldn't do nothing to help contribute. And that's not what we ever said. That's what I'm hearing. I'm sorry. That's what I'm hearing.
I don't think that they said that. I don't think they said that at all. I mean, you brought your son on and you asked your son to explain to us, and your son even stated that he needed male in his life, other men, to help him. Okay, so then, sweetheart, you did a good job. You ain't got to prove nothing to nobody on this panel. Congratulations.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying.
I mean, hold on. What's your name? What's your name first of all? What's your name first of all? Because I want to address you personally.
Lakia.
Actually,
I would like to see your face.
I'm
really would like to have this face-to-face conversation, not behind the curtain.
Trust me, that's me. Trust me, if you've been on my panels, that's me. 100% me.
Yeah. I can vouch for that.
After this conversation, I'm gonna go lift something heavy. Shit. But anyway, I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take them 60 and 80 pound dumbbells and curl them and bench them. So yep, that's me. One. What you're hearing is versus what you're comprehending. Because you're thinking that we're saying you can't raise a boy. Think of it this way. If I got engine problems, that could mean a whole list of things, right? If I fix one thing, that may not fix the engine completely, right? So in other words, a lot of what's going on in our community is that we have a lacking. Because what happens when a boy does not get his father or any father figures, there's going to be a lacking, and he's going to follow guys possibly that mean him no harm. Because a boy is going to search out somebody to measure his masculinity against, or to actually verify his masculinity. Everybody, multiple times on this stream and the panel, has given you kudos and congratulations.
I'm not looking for kudos, Sadie. I know
No,
what I did.
Let me finish. We've already done that. But what you haven't heard was the fact of how important it is for a child, especially a male child, to have his father. Because there are certain things that men take cues on from other men. So like we don't trust a guy who don't look us in the eye. We don't trust a guy without a firm handshake. There's certain things that we as men judge other men on, regardless of how people feel, regardless of how people think.
I have a question for you, Lakia. Do you think your daughter's father could raise them by themselves without your influence or help?
Listen, no, it takes two parents. I totally agree. It takes two. It takes two parents. I was one of those mothers when I divorced my ex-husband. Thank you allowing me to speak. It's quiet. Where I was trying to totally remove the kids from their father. I was, because of the environment. But it was blocked by, and I said, Lord, I see it's not working. So I said, those are your kids first. That's your son, him being their father. I'm going to leave it alone. They need it. They need their father, regardless of where he is and how he is in the state of mind. They need him. I can't teach them everything, but what I did do is this: the things that I did not like. This is what my mindset was at that time. I'm gonna show them better than I can tell them the type of environment I believe they would want to desire to have in their life. An environment of peace, an environment of respect and respecting one another, an environment of having love and consideration, and just goodness, and not drama and crazy and this and that. So I said I can show them better than I can tell them. So they will go to their dad's house and they'll have that environment and they'll be there, and then they come to my house and they had the environment when they came to my house. There were still things I had to show them, because that was not acceptable. That was not going to get them far in life. Because if you don't teach people how to deal with people, if you don't teach your kids how to deal with people, then they're going to have a problem dealing with people. And it's just general. And so that's where now I give him still respect, because he did his part. But then I had my part to do. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to my oldest, that was my oldest son, is that I had to teach him some things. When he had his first job, who was there? I was there. I said, this is how you're going to dress when you go to your interview. When you went, they had open interviews at Fantasy Island. I want to wear this. I said, no, you're not. You're going to wear your button-down shirt with a collar, with some khaki pants, and you're going to go presentable. And if they ask you this question, I'm teaching him how to go before an interviewer. That's not teaching him to be a man. That's teaching him how to be successful at an interview. And that's also going to carry him as a man to his next interview. So that's the reason why I think I'm a little bit passionate about it, is because I had to do these things. When things was crumbling down in different areas of his life, I had to put life into him. I had to speak, no, greatness is inside of you. Not what you see around you, what it is where you're going to become, what you're getting to. I had to do that. So that's why I'm a little bit passionate about that. You can't tell me I can't teach him, because I had to teach him.
Did you teach him to be a man?
You're missing the end part. You can't teach him how to be a man.
I could teach him to be competitive, because
in other words, I noticed how you totally avoid the question. Can you teach him to be a man?
I can teach him how to be tough.
No. Can you teach him how to be a man?
What is the difference between them? What is the parts of a man that I can't teach?
Being a man is not always.
This why men say women don't listen.
This is the failure. This is the failure. Being a man is
Women
not
don't
just
listen.
about
That's
being
the failure.
tough. See,
I listen very clearly. I just want to
no, women don't listen. Women listen to what they want to hear.
And that's where
women
I'm at.
don't listen. Women listen to what they want to hear. We've been explaining to you the whole time. You did a good job, and you still trying to explain.
This is the problem with, and I'm just gonna say this. This is the problem black men usually have with black women. Like the lady just said, you hear what you want to hear.
You're stubborn too.
You want it,
you
know.
You heard what you want.
I know you're a smart lady because you just totally dodgeballed my question. Can a woman teach a boy to be a man? Obviously, everybody says no, but you can't. But see, you dodgeballed the question multiple times, so I know you're smart enough to know what you're talking about.
Other than not,
you cannot teach him to be a man because the world. I'm sorry. Even my mother told me. Even my mother and father told me the world is not going to look at you the same way as they look at your sister. Sorry.
And we know that, and I taught him that too.
So you cannot teach him to be a man.
I can't teach him.
How much experience do you have in being a man?
You don't tell me I can't.
How much experience do you have in being a man? Tell me how much experience you have.
That's like basics. That's like basics.
I bet you didn't teach him nothing in Air Force training.
I notice men don't talk about how much experience we have being a woman. I just want to know how much experience you have being a man.
I'll leave it alone. I'm still not drinking the Kool-Aid. Sorry, sir.
Because you know what the answer is. And
actually, unapologetically,
you know what the answer is, but you refuse. Even the ladies told you. You just want to hear what you want to hear.
I don't drink their Kool-Aid as well.
Guess what? I don't know what kind you drink and take it back to the store.
What is that supposed to mean to me? And
that's a bad batch that you got. That's the.
I might drink their wine. I may drink their soda. But this Kool-Aid, I'm not drinking. That's all. Can we agree to disagree? Can we
Shaughnessy, pass that drink.
Take it back.
I'll take your wine, but I ain't drinking that Kool-Aid. That's all I'm saying. Can we agree to disagree?
No.
All right, moving further, because Lakia is not, she's steadfast on this idea.
It's like, that's the whole thing. There we go right there. Why do men try to change women? Boom. Just like
we
God
don't.
Women
not
try to
change women. It's just,
there we go, right there. We go. Men always try to change
all women.
It's not trying to change you. It's just to open up your reality to what it is. We can't. I'm not. If I had a daughter, because I have a son. If I had a daughter, I could teach her to be a great person, but I can't teach her to be a woman. Exactly. Sorry. Men and women have limitations. Sorry.
Exactly.
We have limitations.
But they don't have limitations no more. They non-binary. They got
That's what. That just means there's 99 types of gay. That's all it is. That's it. Look.
Okay, but as a police officer and you going out to houses with people that's like that, you got to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, you got to deal with it because you teach people. See, the problem with that is that you treat people with basic line human respect.
Right.
Nobody gets anything special over the other. You give them baseline respect.
Right.
Until otherwise, if the situation gets out of hand, you deal with it. See, that's the problem.
I'm gonna give you that.
And that's what it is. Guess what? I'm man enough to admit. I don't know the first thing about menstrual cramps. I don't know the first thing about giving birth. I'm man enough. I'm smart enough to know that I don't know that shit. But guess what? If I had a woman, if I had a daughter, and she needed to buy feminine products, guess what? You're going to your aunt. You're going to some woman that I can trust. But in the Black community, how many times do we look out for our boys? And if the father's not there, do we get mentors for those boys?
But see, that's what goes to a conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago, where they say that you cannot, or they don't want to date women that have young children, and they don't want to deal with young children or people.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. I'll answer that for you. In today's world, in today's world, and there's some things when coming back to being a man or what, would you trust your young kids going to a daycare ran by all men?
No.
Why?
I didn't send neither one of my children to daycare.
I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying would you?
No, I get it. I wouldn't trust anything ran by anybody.
I wouldn't trust them.
Most
them
women
because
are
if
not
they
going
get hurt, they wouldn't know what to do.
Most women are not going to trust their kids going to an all-male daycare, even if the men can do just as good of a job. To them, and their psyche is going to seem weird.
Well,
It's
who is
like
going to
this.
be there when they get hurt?
It's like this. I always ask women, would you live in a house that was built by an all-female construction crew?
Now that's what I would do.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of women, you know what a lot of women tell me? Hell no.
Oh my
well, I don't know them women. Because why we wouldn't support us?
Them and a people's mind, they like, hell no. I worked around with and this is what these women
so because you work around women, they didn't know how to build a house.
Right. I was just about to say, now if there's a different question, would I work with a staff of all women? Now I'm gonna say no.
Hell no. I agree with
that. I would say no. Would I live in a house built by all women?
And you know how all women work together. Why would you live in a house like that if you know how working with the staff is? Because now you like. So, in other words, some things we hate to say in going to be foreign.
I can't even understand.
Somebody has their mic open.
Somebody's mic is open.
Yeah, it's not him.
So, in other words, we have to culturally say there's some things that are going to be foreign culturally. And even with your son being with men, great guy, went into the military. Guess what? Mama can't defend him no more. Your son's a man. He's defending the country.
I never had to defend my son.
But this is paraphrase. So, in other words, yes, it's important for boys to have not only their father but father figures. I have a great father, but I also had perennial father figures as well. Call me lucky, I guess. There are some things that, as a man, that men are going to see that women will not.
Yeah.
It's like there's some things women will see that men will not. Women typically don't see danger the way men do.
Correct.
That's why we look a man in the eye, because we want to see his intentions.
That's not true. I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with it.
I don't agree with that statement.
Which statement are you saying you don't agree with?
Women don't see danger like the same way men do.
Let me ask you this
come
question.
on now.
I'm done.
I'm sorry. I do.
How you gonna be done? You can be done.
You're of a mindset that is totally the opposite of mine.
Last time I checked, the police departments in this country
I can tell you, listen, my mindset, guess what? My mindset, that young man that you just heard on my mindset helped that young man become successful. My mindset.
That's what.
Well, wait, I think you're still trying to defend your purpose and your role as a mother, and we're not shooting that down. We're not shooting that down at all.
But we're not talking about motherhood.
My mindset.
We know that these kids need their mothers, and we know that without us.
No, he's not saying that. He's not.
That's what he said. He's explained it several times.
I don't get that.
But he said that. No, honey, Lakita, he said that several times that he's not dismissing your motherhood.
I don't think he really believe it. I don't think he really believe it.
You know what, Lakita? You know what?
Herb, this next bottle with XO cognac is still black ass.
Look here, there's a movie, and I've mentioned this before on this platform. It's called The Road to Perdition.
Oh, wow.
I want you to watch that movie.
Not doing it.
Hey, Mr. Officer. Wait. Mr. Officer, I got a question for you.
Hold up. Say it in your sexy voice.
Oh, well, don't play with it. Come on, Mr. Officer. I got a question for you. So you say women, we don't see danger the way men see danger, right?
No. Typically, no. You have some who do. You have outliers, but typically you don't. It's just like, for instance, there's some things women have genetically better than us, like a sense of smell and a sense of taste. You know why? Because men had to go out and hunt. Women gathered fruits and vegetables, and they had the ability to smell and taste to see if it was poisonous. There are some things as men that we're going to be attentive to because of the way the environment charges us. There's a reason why men are the protectors. Because guess what? We got to see danger first. We got to be able to give up our lives for the survival of the race.
Okay, so you don't think any of this changed though?
No.
You don't think time has changed any of
Let me put it to you this way. Let me put it to you this way. I'm going to answer your question. Hold up.
Let me hear my
right? I'm going to answer your question fully.
Okay.
Men and women have equal opportunity to work today, right? Right?
Yes, you're correct.
But women could even get jobs where they're the provider, right?
Right.
Do women want to be the provider of the family, sole provider? No.
I mean, they don't want to be, but they are.
It goes against your biology.
That's not
okay, so wait a minute.
You're dead wrong about that. You're dead
so wait a
wrong.
minute. So you hold on, baby girl. So you telling me it goes against my biology?
Girl, get him.
Yeah.
But you're trying to tell me that things have not changed in this world, that men are still cavish? What are you saying to me?
In other words,
because wait a minute, my dad is a police officer too. Now, my dad is a police officer too, and I'm a thug, so I want to make sure we 2 on 1.
If things change so dramatically, is the majority of our military still men?
Why are they still men? Because men don't want those women.
Guess what? You have how many women are going over to Ukraine to go kick some ass?
Oh my!
Say that again, because I like how you brought ass
right now to go kick some ass.
We so divided.
I mean, how many women want to join this military?
No.
That's his
Guess what?
Oh yeah.
You know they had studies, right? You know, hold up. You know they had studies where they gave boys dolls and action figures, and they did the same for girls. And guess what happened in the study? The girls still went to the more female-dominated fields, and the boys still went to the male-dominated fields.
Okay, so now that we have all of these different genders, now what now? I mean, come on, you got girls out here wanting to be boys, you got boys out here wanting to be girls. I mean, things have changed for us.
Guess what? It has not changed because that's bullshit. Because
I
guess
think
what?
your mindset is old, man.
Guess what?
They made.
Ma'am, at the end of the day, it's still only 2 genders. It's only male or female.
That's how you feel, but that's not how a lot of other people feel.
No.
What
so
you're
what
saying.
I think we're
That's
missing a bigger picture.
biologically.
I was just about to say we're missing a bigger picture. We're not saying that we're not identifying that there's people that feel or identify different ways. That is very true. I respect.
Okay, so I think that we shouldn't call them
only 2 genders, which is male and female.
Female,
and
that's it.
Okay. So when you do that, Shaughnessy, when you do that, when you say there's only male and female, you just ignore the rest of them. You can't do that.
No, I'm not ignoring the rest of them at all. I'm not ignoring anything at all. What I'm saying is to make to the point in which he's saying, and we're talking about science and we're talking about biologically. There is 2 things, and that is male and female. And what he is saying is males have a certain role in the society and females have a certain role in the society. We cannot dismiss that.
Yeah. I don't even know how that's even argumentative.
We can't even
say that's going the other way.
Let me explain.
They teach that side in medical school. That's just knowledge.
I posted a
Marine
Corps captain, right? I posted this Marine Corps captain, this white lady, was fit more than most men outside the military. Studies have shown that 90 percentile fittest females in the military rank in the bottom 60 of men in the military. There are some things that women are not going to be able to do. Not when women say they're strong, no, you have perseverance. You have a greater pain tolerance. You have a greater immune system than men.
Yeah.
So if you want to just go by biologically, there's a reason why you outlive us. Y'all don't get as sick. y'all don't get as sick as us. That's one. So here's a factor that people don't like to say. Well, men and women aren't equal. We're not. We're complementary.
Right.
And that's what we got away from, is being complementary. Because yes, have I had female officers with me? I tell them, I don't expect you to be a man. I don't expect you to be a woman, but I expect you to be a damn police officer. You may not have the physical strength like I do, but guess what? If you see me rolling on the ground, you take that nightstick and you fucking Barry Bonds that motherfucker knee big. You take a brick, you do what you got to do. We have to stop acting like there are no subtle differences in this world. Yes, you can have a gender man, but guess what? How many transgender men are going to the NFL? There's a lot of transgender girls that are going to sports like wrestling and dominating the field. Why? Because that testosterone with the estrogen, and estrogen actually solidified the bones and giving him an unfair physical advantage. So yes, there are some professions you're going to have outliers. That's why you have women in the military, women in the police department, women in the fire department. Are they the great majority? Hell and no. And we're not taking away their contribution, but there are differences.
So I wanted to hop in because
Go ahead. Is that Sharon?
I think
yes,
so.
Yep.
Hey, Sharon, how you doing? Sorry it took so long.
Hey,
to get in.
Sharon.
Hi y'all. I know I've been gone. I've been working out. I've been working, just going through life. But I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate Lakia. She stirs it up for y'all. She ruffles everyone's feathers, and it just is so crazy to see. But I think the reason why is Lakia. When the question was asked, can a woman teach a young boy to be a man? You went off on a tangent about being a mom and teaching your son to be a good person. We didn't. They weren't asking that. They were saying, can we, as women, teach our young boys to be men? We could teach them how to function in society. Could teach them from right from wrong. We could teach them how to be successful. So that's not lost on us. But when it comes to men things that we don't deal with, that we don't face on a daily basis, that in our physical bodies we don't know anything about, when they go through puberty, things that develop, things that happen, we can't teach them about those things. We can only teach them what we know. And why I say that is we sit here, we wonder why in relationships now you have a lot of women that complain about, well, how come you always want to hang with your friends or as bros before hoes? You ever wonder why men will make up with their male friends before they'll make up with their girlfriend, right? And we're like, well, what is it about? Why is that? What is this conspiracy? It's because they didn't have men to teach them. So they're looking to their male friends now for advice, and they're listening to the wrong advice most of the time. And it's the blind leading the blind, because most of them didn't have father figures, and they're all looking to each other for male advice. And then he's like, oh man, leave her alone, go find another one. And they're giving them all each other bad advice, and then that's affecting our relationship. And then we still are dealing with those daddy issues as women, because it's that void. We're looking to him to fill that void, but he can't fill it because he didn't have a father in his life. So if he didn't have a man to teach him a man, we didn't have any daddies to teach us anything. We are both having that void, and that's the majority of issues, and that's why we can't teach men to be men.
See, I'm gonna say that the only part I disagree with is that a lot of your male friends are keeping you in the relationships. Now, a lot of them are, because hell, a lot of us say this: you ain't gonna leave her, so go ahead and vent. Let me go get the cigars and liquor.
Exactly.
Now,
exactly.
Now they've done studies where men actually have longer, fuller lives when they have male friends, because men need that camaraderie.
I'm not saying they don't need male friends,
I'm
officer. I'm saying that the male friends is the blind lead the
what the
blind.
study said. But here's the crazy part, right? There are some conversations you're gonna have to go with, even if you're a married man, you're gonna have to speak to other men about. That your wife is not gonna sit. And see, you're gonna have to go there and be like, damn, I gotta do this. And other men are gonna give you their perspective. Hell, sometimes even as a 40-year-old man, you had to talk to the younger men in their 20s to see what they're going about. Because guess what? You're going to have to keep, especially when you hit the age of 40 as a man, that's when you start to get the respect of the elders, but you still have your ear to the streets with the younger. And a lot of times, women don't understand that. Why are you with your men? Because sometimes it feels fucking great to go shoot guns, drink shit, and talk shit. And it's a release. Sometimes we need that release with our friends. I have several married guys who I'm friends with, a couple of them. And you know, they said, I need to find hobbies outside my wife.
I agree with that. I never said don't go be with your friends.
That's how you prolong marriage.
Yeah, officer, I'm not saying don't go be with your friends. I said a lot of times it's the blind leading the blind, because a lot of the male friends didn't have father figures either, and they all trying to give each other advice.
Here's the difference between being a male. In order to get to a certain status or age, you're going to learn by fire anyway, because that's how society treats it. We don't have systems. We don't have a house of rules. When we get into shit, usually if another man doesn't help us, we got to find a way out of that shit on our own. See, everybody wants the man to start out making $100,000, you know, doing all this, being the VP or whatever. Most men don't start making money till 35, real money anyway. So that man, because remember, the male body is a much more complex creature, so it's growing longer. He's still got to develop. And he's got to fucking fly the plane while it's being built. And a lot of times in this society, men don't get the leeway women do. Even if they make the same fucking mistakes. We just don't.
I can't agree with that last statement about the leeway, but I do think that we both get.
I'm gonna tell you why. Let's look at the court system. Are women given the same time as men for the same crime? Hell, even black men don't. Even white men don't get the same time as black men.
All right, that's true.
Right, but that. Are you speaking on race, or are you're
both?
Just speaking?
Both. I just said both, because women don't get. The problem with it is, guess what? If Amber Geiger kicked in that man's door and shot him dead cold blood in his underwear, you think if that was a man, especially a black man, he would get 5 years?
Well, I mean, we know the system is made for us. So
guess what, though? What's the problem here? The problem lies where we keep voting in the same white folks that's making these laws and allowing it to happen. So that we got to change that. Okay, that's where our energy should be put towards changing the people that's making these laws and making these things happen.
Well, let me ask you a question.
The second part of that.
Hold on, Officer Falk. Let
me
ask you a question. Look here. The voting electorate is made up predominantly of whom?
We know what the voter electorate is made up of predominantly of. So how can we switch that? Who we need to put in place
because
to switch that?
Because the women need to take the lead. You're not going to change something and make it work against your best interest.
Black women vote more than black men.
No. I'm not. This is not a race. This is a gender issue. No. Women are not going to vote to do as much time for the same crime as a man.
Listen, if that's the case, Roe versus Wade wouldn't have just took place if women are the ones that's making all the decisions.
And now you're talking out of your element. You don't even know what's going on with Roe versus Wade.
That just knocks that out. What you just
Roe versus Wade is about a birth deficit in the country.
It's about, but if women were the ones making the decisions and are the ones that control it,
you know what?
Trust me, it would not have happened.
Lakia, do you know what's going to happen when Roe versus Wade is overturned?
Yeah, that's not fact.
A lot of women are going to die.
That's two separate things.
No, Roe versus Wade is going to re-trigger abortion and kick it down to the states. It's not going to be illegal. It's just not going to be federally protected. This is what happens when you speak on stuff that you don't have a thorough knowledge of.
Again, if it was women making the decisions, then it would not have happened at that level. That's the level that I'm discussing, that we need to make sure those electoral votes.
It still has to go through a process, though. It still has to go through a process.
You're trying to say that we need to vote more women in.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Hold up. Did you say that we need to vote more women in?
Please don't vote more for me.
Yes, we need more. Yes, that sounds like somebody that's.
We need to vote more black people.
We need to vote more black people. I even had an ex-girlfriend in the police department. We need more women in office. Okay, the same women who always tell me that they picked the wrong guy to have babies by.
Oh, damn. How you get that out of there?
Wow.
That was a joke.
You talking to a guy who goes to people's houses and he told me this. I had to have a baby by.
I think the problem is the imbalance, whatever. Shit, you can't have too many women in the office, and probably can't have too male because of the executive function and power. You got to have a nice balance, and that's this shit.
Yeah, we need more Republican women. We don't need more Democrat women.
Diversity in all things is well.
I don't think you need any office. I just think you need. I think black people need to vote interest instead of party.
Correct.
I
Absolutely.
think they need to vote policy instead of personality.
And vote whatever they see.
Whatever the homies are voting for.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think people fully understand the vote process. Anyway.
Y'all don't think women fully understand nothing in here.
No, I didn't say women. I said people.
Bottom line.
I said people.
But this is what I'm just saying.
Yeah, whatever. Just say what you mean.
The one thought that he said that I did not concur with, and that is that the limitations that is put on individuals. It's sometimes what life is just survival of the fittest.
Oh shit! Tell me what you've been drinking. Oh shit! Because I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you one thing about it.
We're not trying to survive.
Everybody can talk about survival of the fittest, but let the power go down for 3 weeks to a month.
My
And
word.
we're gonna show the survival. COVID showed us the survival of the fittest, didn't it?
We have given you much respect on this panel.
I've given you much respect as well, but let's talk about it.
Every time that I say a word, you jump in. I know you're so interested. I know you don't want to hear what I have to say because you have something to say.
Come on, sweetheart. What you been drinking? Come on, say it, girl.
So as I was saying, I definitely ain't drinking your Kool-Aid. There's no that.
No, you drinking something strong than Kool-Aid.
So as it's survival of the fittest, according to you, because if a man is being raised, which a majority of a lot of young men are being raised by single mothers, they're all doomed. According to you.
Let me ask you this question.
But nope, I'm not finished. I'm not
if the babies are born, the men or the women?
Respect that. I'm not done. Thank you.
Drinking or talking?
So as I was saying before I was interrupted, we're out here.
Why do you care so much what he thinks?
The one thing is this:
Shit.
if you put somebody out there, like if I don't, I'm not.
I mean, just why?
But I promise you,
ain't nothing gonna change your mind.
I don't know how. I don't work on cars, but I promise you, I tell you what I did do. I picked up my phone. My tail light needed to be fixed. My side view mirror had to be replaced. And guess what I did? Picked up my cell phone, watched a YouTube video, and guess who replaced them joints? I did.
If I don't need a man was a person, you are it. Listen, you are proving a points up and down and left and right. That is not what they're saying.
Because my granddaughter can see the YouTube.
No, that's not what I'm saying. He tried to act like women can't do nothing with his
No, that's not what even what you doing now.
Why do you care?
He just got here. I'm not hearing him say if a bunch of women built a building or whatever he
That's what
said
he
they
think.
built, would you live in it? Absolutely, I'll live in it. What are you talking
No,
about?
And I
wouldn't.
said I would live in it too. His ass
I
ain't gotta
said
go. He can
hell
go live in
no.
that mess he been living
No,
in.
that's what I'm
I
talking
said
about. That
hell
statement
no,
he
because
made.
even the women
How
said they know
dare
how
you
women
say
are
a
when they live
woman? That's
together.
I don't whoever they are. They just want to
You
be.
said
Right.
even,
So he
even
said
y'all
that.
said hell no,
Maybe
y'all
they
went to work
grew
with a
up with
bunch
a
of women.
daddy. Maybe they grew up with a daddy and didn't have to
And
do all that stuff.
maybe
But not
we just
everybody.
I
still
didn't
The
grow up
Bible
with a
of the
we
father.
still
fittest.
don't want to be
I didn't
The
grow
we
up
don't
with a
want
Bible
to
father, but
of the
I
fittest.
do know. I didn't grow up with a father, but what I do know is that I'm not YouTubing anything. I'm calling a man. Come on,
I
come and fix
YouTube
my.
it
I
though.
know I can do it. I can do it myself.
And
But why do I have to use my hands when I know a man is
I
capable
don't
of
have
it?
to
I'm gonna call you
either.
up. My
I
brain
Now
don't
that's
have to
sharing,
is
ain't
either.
it?
off the air.
And let me ask you this. And let me ask you this, love.
It's a
When
choice.
you look at that YouTube video,
Change the
was it
oil.
a
Lord,
man
I
or
already
woman
got too
showing
much
you
to
how to
do.
change it out? Was it a man or woman showing you how to change that light?
It was a man.
Thank you.
Charles,
My case.
I'm just gonna tell you tonight
No,
I
he
don't
didn't.
like
But
you.
guess what? This
I
woman
don't like you,
followed a
know,
man's
Charles.
instructions
you
and
know I never
obeyed.
lost a court case for a reason, right?
I didn't.
I
It
mean,
didn't
and I
matter.
didn't know that
I was
become a
Well,
position.
So I
to
I
guess
any
said
of
whether
the
you
Gary,
listen to a
to any
man
of
or
the
a YouTube
gentlemen
the
video,
on
whole
the
thing
Lakia.
I'm
panel
trying to
today,
comment, the whole thing I'm trying to say to you is that women are capable
I'm
of
screaming. yes, we
doing
are.
this in this room.
Lakia, we are very
He
capable,
knows that women.
but
He knows that women
I'm
are
not trying to
capable.
live a hard life. I want to live a soft life. So to
That
any of
wasn't
the
hard for me.
men
Some women
on the
enjoy that.
panel that don't
Can
know
I
how
ask
to
you?
change
Can I
my
ask
oil,
the
I need an
ladies?
oil change.
Can I ask the ladies one question? Can I ask the ladies one question?
I need
At
an
what
oil
time
change.
did I say women are capable?
So help me out, because I
At
need
what time did I say women were not capable?
You just said about the
man.
house.
Hello.
About would you live in?
Off
Would
the
you
date.
live in a house
Most
that a
women,
whole bunch,
most
only a whole?
women do not want.
As
Most
long as that
women,
house is
Would
gonna
you live in
stand
a
up,
house?
I'ma live in it.
guess what?
Okay.
Most women would tell you they're not going to live in a house that are built by an all-female construction crew.
Would you live in a
How?
house with
Y'all don't
by
even
a
want to
whole?
work in offices for all women.
Would you,
But
sir?
that's different.
Hell
That's
no.
different.
Okay, so
And
that's
that's
what I'm
different,
saying.
man.
You're
That's
the one
So
that's
you
different.
saying
telling
that.
me,
You're the one
you
that's
telling
saying
me
it.
the
It's the
But
same
Bible
listen,
says that
hold
women are
hairdresser,
on.
the
capable.
same
He wouldn't know
hairdresser
if
that
they
goes
didn't
in his
tell him.
office is not going to happen at the
He wouldn't
construction
know.
site.
He wouldn't know.
Well,
It's
that's
He wouldn't know
different.
if they
That's
didn't tell him.
different, man.
So you
That's
could say
different.
that you wouldn't, but the new house,
nope,
the next house that you buy, Officer Faulkner, could be built by
nope,
all women, and you wouldn't know it. And that house would
You
nope,
last
wouldn't even know.
the
nope.
full
Because
whatever
guess
amount of
what?
your mortgage or loan
Because
is.
guess
You
what?
would
You're
never
But I
gonna
know.
told him he was
because you can
old
check the
and stuck in
construction
his way.
company. You can check the construction company that builds a new house. You can do
Well,
that,
yes,
right?
you can. But I
You can
challenge you
check.
to move
And
into
guess
a
what?
house and not know that
Guess how many?
information and see if
Guess
that
the
house still
percentage of women.
stands.
Guess what the percentage of women in construction is?
It doesn't matter.
2%.
Well, tell us what it is. You know what it is.
Thank
What
you.
is
A mute point.
2%.
A mute
You're
point.
so hellbound on
Thank
that.
you, co-host.
Officer
Please take
Faulkner,
over your show.
2%.
Jesus, man.
I just let y'all get y'all shine. I'm laid back, letting
Please,
listen to all
please
this
take
stuff.
over your
Okay,
show.
2%.
so
Well, that's
So
good.
it's not gonna happen.
officer, officer, if you don't mind, you could come fix my oil, change my oil for me then, since you
Sure.
so hellbound on
Sure.
that.
As long as you could cook me a nice 3-meal dinner.
Oh well, cooking is a basic skill. Changing
Hey,
oil is
but
not.
guess what? Protection,
I'm not
that's
a
a basic
mechanic.
skill. Guess what?
Cooking is a
Protection is a
basic
basic
skill.
skill.
Cooking
And
is
I'm
not no basic skill because every
Protection is
woman
the basic
cannot
skill.
cook.
And
And
I'm
if
so hey,
he
Well,
like to go
go
by the
ahead.
Bible, men cook
wait a
It's
minute.
first
called
anyway.
Well, it
12-12
shouldn't
pro,
be. It's
baby. Something for
cooking.
something, baby.
Cooking is not a male or a female
Yes.
thing. You
But
should
when
know
you
how to
cook
cook.
out of love, it means a lot. When you
Okay,
cook for
well,
somebody,
listen. If
it
you
means
want
a
in the
lot.
middle for an oil change, I ain't got no problem doing that because I can cook.
Hey,
So you
I'm
come
good.
get you a
I'm good
plate
with it.
and I change
I'm
my
good
oil
with
and we
it.
good.
Trust me, an oil change is not hard, baby.
See how easy that is? Simple. Problem solved.
Don't cook them nothing to
Next.
eat. Let them cook.
And I do want to say, I
She
do.
said
And you
she
can
gonna give
shovel
me
when
I
the
some.
do need a
snow hit because
man.
I'm
She said she
tired and
gonna
I
make
ain't
some
soft
ribs,
enough.
y'all.
And that's the thing, Lakia. You be saying all this stuff, whatever.
You drink coffee or tea because in the
I need a
No shovel.
And in the morning, I drink tea.
No
That's the
doggone
father
man.
drink
What
coffee.
is nonsense? No. I'll keep watching YouTube videos.
YouTube videos ran by men, huh?
You know, there's a
Listen,
reason why they call
I
me
guess
the
I do need a wife.
Lakia,
I am not boycotting. I'm only watching females.
A lot
Lakia,
of people don't
Lakia,
understand this,
the
right?
key is just to
A
let
lot of
them
people.
have and think what they want to think, because at the end of the day, behind the scenes, we run the show, they listen to what we say. But
No, we don't. We don't pay y'all no attention.
if
Actually,
out loud, if we argue with them back and forth, they're not never going to listen. They don't win. Just let them talk. Let them believe what they believe. But I guarantee, if I really met Mr. Faulkner one-on-one and we got together, he's going to be changing my oil. He's going to be shoveling my snow and mowing my lawn. And I'm going to be making
you're gonna be washing my clothes, ironing my shirt.
Whatever. Washing
You're
clothes
gonna be
ain't
cooking
nothing.
my food.
Washer
You're
and
gonna be
dryer.
sweeping the
Easy.
floor.
Easy.
You're gonna
That's
nut.
easy work.
I mean,
That's not hard.
we're gonna do it like basic training. Take the white glove to the window sill.
There's nothing hard about cleaning or cooking or
and then
washing
on top
clothes.
of that,
That's easy.
we're gonna make
All
sure
I
y'all-
don't want to
she do
shovel
this
snow and I
for
don't want to mow the lawn. You can do that.
Officer Charles is shared. All y'all got to do is meet an extended stay for about a week or two and see how it work out.
And all I ask, and the only thing I ask from you is don't talk to me during the UFC or the Ravens playing.
And what I ask for you is don't bother me. Don't bother me while I'm doing my work, while I'm reading, and don't bother me when I go work
If
out.
you
at the
see a
gym.
comic book in my hand, you better wait 30 minutes to talk about it. Nope.
You can watch whatever you want to watch. I'll be at the gym. Don't bother me.
Me too.
You won't bother me.
Okay, there's a match made right there.
If you see me at the gym, put another 45 plate on that ball. We trying to go for 4 or
It's not
5.
a match made because you know what? Officer Faulkner here is trying to make it more complicated because he wants to be an
Officer Faulkner. Let Officer Faulkner speak because Faulkner does not like complication. He likes
then why are you doing all of that?
Because he's a very simplistic, like Frankie Beverly says.
Well, then calm
he's just
down.
a laid back type of guy.
Well,
but at
calm
the
down
same
and lay
time,
back.
because guess what? He's very laid back.
I want to see your face.
Hey, last
Calm
time
down.
a woman
Lay
been with
back.
me, that's all she
Take a
could do
chill
was lay back.
pill.
But anyway,
Go watch your sports. Do you drink beer? Would you like a tequila?
No, I'm bougie. I drink beer.
I don't know if you can afford what he drinks. That man's got some.
And don't forget to light my cigars, baby.
That's right. Yeah. I'll light it up. I'll light it.
Because guess what? Even my ex-girlfriends will tell you.
But you see how easy that is? You be trying to make sure women don't know. We know how.
It's just, of course, women know how to please a man. It's just a lot of women ain't trying.
You guys are simple and predictable. It's easy.
Ooh.
Easy.
So are women.
Shots fired.
So are women. Women are very simplistic. They just try to be complicated.
I don't try to.
They think they're complicated, but they're very easy.
I told you if you come change my oil, I'll make you a quick meal. Easy. Problem solved.
Hey, don't worry. I got a few shirts to be pressed up too.
Any other topics tonight?
We're not gonna. We're gonna have some carryover. We're gonna have some carryover.
Director of the show.
It's done. We're gonna have a couple carryovers. It's done. But we was already set behind with the Buffalo stuff, so we about to closing comments. Get out of here. It seems like it's a lot of potential hookups, a lot of experiments that y'all can come back to the table and say, yeah.
What are you talking about? Potential hookups. None of these people on this panel like each other.
It's an experiment. I think Lakia used them words. There's some experiments that can happen.
I hope
I
no
want to know
hatred from
the
anybody. That takes energy.
I want to know the experiments. Who you have in mind?
Who? I said Jide. Oh, he gets me. He said it's Lakia's world. Men are not necessary. He gets me.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Lakia.
Hey, boyfriend. Oh boy.
Lakia, you just can't.
Oh boyfriend. We got another one. Oh boyfriend. We got another one over here. God damn.
And this with this show was going to be the third talking part. Have black men and black women reach a point of no return. So you
No,
kind of seen it. Like,
no, we
I don't
haven't.
think so. I don't think so. I don't think it's time to give up on each other.
Don't give up. Amen.
It depends
Say
on the
for us.
generation.
Don't give up.
It
No,
depends on
yeah,
the generation.
you know, I do
Why
need.
doesn't it?
I
What
do
what
need a man.
generation?
I'm
What
gonna tell you
generation?
why.
Necessary.
I'm
What
gonna tell you why.
generation?
The generation that is below us, it depends on them.
Oh wait, let's watch us. Watch the us, y'all.
Yeah.
because Shaughnessy said
No,
I'm
it depends
30.
on them.
What he's talking
Yeah.
about is
But
the delay.
Let me
Ava,
ask you this question: any female up here willing to have another baby?
Oh no,
If,
that's
heck
if a
over.
no.
man wanted,
So
if my
No.
husband,
Any of the
if
female willing to have another baby?
for my
no.
husband,
No, I'm a grandmother.
for my
So
husband,
guess what? It depends on the generations
if
below
I
us.
was married and my husband said he wanted to have another baby, I would for him. That was it.
So
That's
normally that's one out of how many females still up here? It's really going to depend on the generations below us.
it is.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Finished.
having no more kids. I'm not even thinking about getting married. So no.
It is finished. But one thing I'll say is this.
I'm not
and
gonna
I-
say it's finished. I would say if I was married and my husband said, "Hey, I want to have another child," I would have another child.
I'm just saying they won't even tie my tubes for me. They won't even do me that favor. I'm stuck.
Really?
You probably too busy arguing with the surgeon on how to do it.
Actually, I was joking. First off,
You really trying
I
to
was
start
joking.
again? You just
My
I was
God, he
just
always stirring the
joking.
pot.
I wouldn't even
No.
be able
You're supposed to go right over left, not left over right.
Oh my God.
I
Okay,
was
Bubba,
just
you need somebody.
joking.
You need somebody to stroke your egos and tell
Right.
you to squeeze your
It's-
muscles and tell you got good shoulders to try biceps.
I can wait. I can go to the grocery store, get food, and I get that.
Damn.
That's called
Damn.
Tuesday.
They don't understand B more apparently, man.
That's called Tuesday. Okay.
Okay, but that's the other key, that's the key right there. I'm glad you said that, because when women see you and they do that, you shouldn't take that as a compliment. Because I don't take when men are in my inbox saying, "Oh, you so beautiful, you this." They tell everybody that, and some women
Right.
do that because they see that you're an officer and they see money, so they just trying to compliment you to get your attention.
That's because they see it
So
doesn't
you
mean
shouldn't have
it
but
doesn't.
if there's women with a genuine interest in you,
A
that's
woman
what I'm
should
saying
want
that
me.
you
A
need.
woman
A
should want
classy
me.
woman ain't
Somebody
gonna
that's
come
I'm
up
gonna
and
be
beg your
totally
spinach.
honest about you. A woman should want me for me and what I can do.
and your muscles. Don't forget your muscles.
And
You
your
said your
muscles. And your
muscles.
muscles.
You got muscles. According to the picture, do you still have those muscles? Let us see.
Nah, that's me.
Cause
That's
you
the
know
hair
men in
now.
counseling,
That's
men
what
in
I'm
counseling
saying.
corners be
Trust
having them
me. Don't
deceptive
worry.
pictures.
Go on my
They be
channel.
putting them pictures.
Go
Well,
on my
I don't
channel.
think
Headshots
Go
are
on my
they be
deceiving.
putting
channel.
them
Charles
pictures up
Fulton
from
Jr.
1965
Go
all
on
over
Charles
red.
Fulton Jr. and you can see how much I can lift in full uniform.
Well, listen here. We haven't given up on each other. I love black men, and I
For sure.
appreciate black men, and I value them. And I think that I can't speak for the other women on the panel because I don't
No,
know.
I love black men. I
Right.
do need a man.
So I don't think we have failed each other and we given up on each other.
No, I need a man. I'm looking. I keep my option. I'm
I
experimenting.
agree with you.
That's
I agree
right.
with you 85%. But I love white men, Italian men, Puerto Rican.
Okay,
You
enough.
trying to get a little swirlies?
Rome. I need a Roman. I need a Rome.
Yeah, I'm very versatile when it comes to the men's.
Y'all, I am so scared of men of other races, and they did nothing to me at all. I just be like, oh no, I'm scared. I run.
I mean,
know
I've
why.
dated outside my race, but there's nothing like a black man. So
Absolutely.
Don't be scared. Just let me get the baby oil.
You said what happened?
They not hitting for the same thing. I'm
I said,
sorry.
don't be
They not
scared. Let
hitting
me
the
get the
same.
baby oil. Don't be scared. Just lay right back.
Italian men are the best.
Oh, stop.
No.
Yikes.
I'm gonna have to give you a thumbs down on that. Boo tomatoes. Because I don't know. I
don't even.
two Italian
Yeah.
men, and nah, I'm good.
Just black.
Yeah, no man hits like a black man. I'm just saying.
Mm.
But to each his own.
Yeah.
You know, you like what you like. I'm not trying to sway anybody any other way. That's just how I feel. So
She
no,
said
to your
she likes
answer,
a man that she said she like a man that goes hard, fast, soft, slow. He want him to be stroking.
What?
It's
no,
time for him to go to
I like
bed.
my men like Beyonce said,
It's
baby
time.
hair and afros and big nose.
He need to go to bed.
He need to go to bed.
Why don't you tuck me in?
Ooh.
Oh my God. What is
Lord.
going on?
Okay, the counselor's corner.
Everybody
Shut
has
it
a
down.
shade
Oh,
of
that was a live wire. Oh, yeah.
That
He
men
loves
love
it.
Shut it
crazy.
down.
Men love crazy.
I'm lying, but he's a different level of live.
We might have to change it up, whatever. Change up the thing from Counselor's Corner to, I don't know, Quiet Storm or whatever. Acting real.
It has to be the after hours.
No, don't make me open up another goddamn stream. Don't make me open up a goddamn stream after talking about that buffalo shit.
Said, tuck him in, Lakia.
He said, tuck him in. Wow.
BET After Dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry, he comes with his own pair of handcuffs. Don't worry, girl.
Oh,
And y'all know it. Y'all know it's a market for that. Y'all know it would be people chiming in at 3 in the morning, like, oh, they up in here.
After hours. Sure would be.
I remember what a woman asked me
It'll
what
be
we
the
do for.
counselor's dungeon.
She was like, I remember this one
Santi,
woman.
you know you wrong for that one.
She's like, what do you specialize in, officer? I told her simply, stop and frisk. But anyway, that's still crazy.
Yeah.
The counselor's dungeon.
Let me guess. Let me guess. The safe word is pineapples.
All right, we anybody got any closing comments? We gonna get out of here. Anybody?
Oh, now everybody want to be quiet.
Yeah, because there got to be something that stood out that y'all want to hone in on after all this conversation.
There's a lot. But I think, and this is something you were speaking to earlier on your live stream, Officer Faulkner, and I'm going speak to it very briefly. We need, as a demographic, we need to start arming ourselves. We need to start understanding that we should not rely on law enforcement to protect us initially. We need to come together and conform a census, at least the men, on how we're going to protect our neighborhoods from intruders, whether they're internal or external, and whether you use firearms, any other sorts of weaponry to do that, self-defense. It needs to be done, and it needs to be done in earnest. And as always, growth and understanding occurs in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time.
Woo. I'm just going to say this. Number one, black man, black woman, stop taking this shit lightly. Talking to an expert in the field. Look, take the money, budget every 2 weeks or every month to go to that range, get the training.
Yeah.
Not only get the firearms training, get the emergency medical training if you can. Hell no, get it. I don't want to see my people out there assed out. The next time I see some racists coming out there, I better see 5 to 10 brothers and sisters lighting his ass up like it's fucking Juneteenth.
Mm-hmm. And helping each other.
I don't give a damn. Yeah, I got my words about the gynocracy, but guess what? I'm going to judge my people and my women and my men a certain way, and nobody else gets to do it. It's us against them. It's not because we said so, it's because they said it. Look, shout out to the lady who has her son in the military. He's got the skills to pay the bills that we're going to need in this coming future, because we don't know which way this global economy is going to go. And trust me, desperate times are going to take desperate measures. Stop being docile. Stop saying it's your religious belief that you don't, because even Jesus had to whoop a little ass in the temple. Okay? Be safe. Have situational awareness.
I don't know where you got that out in the Bible. He flipped something in the temple. He didn't whip nobody.
He took the whip and he was swinging away, wasn't he? Yeah, he flipped a couple of people too. That's what he took that whip and flipped people. He flipped the table.
You ain't about to sit here. Now I'm gonna go with everything you said, but you ain't about to sit here and misinterpret the word.
No, I didn't misinterpret. Go read it. He made a whip. He didn't make that for show.
You ain't about to do that. Finish what you're saying, but go ahead.
You know, he was like Grandpa on the Boondocks. He was whooping some ass. Okay? Your Lord and Savior whooped some ass too while he was on earth. Get over it. But anyway, guess what? That's called righteous spirit. By the way. That's called righteous spirit. Get over it. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I've learned through the military and the police department. We need to get over these hard facts, because sometimes in order to preserve life, you got to be ready to sometimes take one. Woo! And have a good one.
Woo! Thank you, brother, for joining us. Appreciate you. Who's next?
All I have to say is let's not give up on each other. Let's continue conversations to try or attempt to gain understanding and listen to one another. That is it. That is all.
Next.
I'm grateful for everyone that was on tonight, and Sharon and Anetta and Shaughnessy. I have much respect for you ladies. And I love the fact that we all have difference of opinions, and that's okay. We can have difference of opinions. That's what makes the world go round. But the number one thing is, I just feel in life as a human being that you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. No matter what your gender is, race, creed, color, just do unto people as you would have them do unto you. I think we keep that mindset, it would be much better in this world.
All right. Who's left? Is it just me?
Anetta.
Have a great night, everyone.
For me,
why you do us like that?
Yeah. Somebody with so many words. And
I don't, because tonight I just don't have the
I understand it. It's like that sometimes.
I'm sorry.
That's understandable. For me, at this point, we have to stick out. We have to stand together. We have to be conscious of what's going on. We have to, all the little beasts that we have amongst each other, we got to wake up and kind of come together, because they on some shit. They on some shit, and if we don't stick together, we don't know what it's going to look like, because like I said, I just, some of the stuff and just reading the testimonies and why they was going to tops at that particular time, that's so heartbreaking to me, seriously. And I don't want to get emotional and sensitive, but that's just so heartbreaking. And unless we have each other backs, we won't survive. We won't survive, because they're going to stick together no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what. And we the one have that issue that we want to divide and conquer and not speak to this person, not speak to that person because of he say, she say stuff, whatever. Wake up, people.
Everybody
wake up. Wake the hell up and realize we got to have a united front, and we got to work together. That's it. Unless somebody else has something else to say, we out. Of course, we didn't get through the all the talking points, but that just let us know we always have so much to say for the next show. So keep sitting in the talking points, keep participating in the counselor's corner, and let's keep Buffalo and Oh, I won't even just say Buffalo, all across the country and whatever city alive, because we are going to go through that. Because again, like we know that we live in a copycat society, so it's coming to the nearest town near you. It's going to be somebody. Oh, I can pull that off here. We got to stay woke. As y'all like, people like to quote, we got to stay woke. We really got to stay woke now, because that hit too close to home. Too many people suffering for that, and man, we got to think about what we're gonna do next. But I appreciate y'all. I love you all, and see y'all next time. And let's just keep building and growing and having these conversations.
I think we have to start living together. I think we just start partnering up. There's a bunch of people live together and help pay bills. So
shit, that's coming too.
Yeah.
You feel that's coming.
Believe it or not, I'm gonna tell you one thing. When we spoke to BGS, look, if y'all gonna survive, I'm sorry, I do not wish any woman to be single. But these coming years, boy, COVID was just the carrot. Okay, we about to get the goddamn stick.
Yeah.
Be safe. Right. Be safe. Keep your finger at touch point.
Whoa. What's that?
He leaving y'all with a jewel, something to think about. Y'all like, oh, we want.
I'm ready. I have my certificate. I'm ready. I got my application. I got my mugshot.
Don't worry. Come down to Maryland so I can hire you. Don't worry. Just open up my own security firm. We're gonna do SWAT training. We're gonna do executive protection.
You know, the funny thing is, I mean, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that we can go down there and host a show, because David's down there. I mean, you're down there, Officer Faulkner.
Yeah.
Located from. I think the only people that actually have to take a trip is myself and Lakia.
Yeah, I mean, we can host a show. I got a good cigar lounge that we could go to, Fire and Smoke in Baltimore County. They'd love to have you. It's a black female home with her nephew. They treat you like family. We drink, we have a good time, listen to good music, and talk shit.
Come on, Herb, Lakia, Netta, Willie, come on through.
I'm gonna shoot you a message.
I love Baltimore. I got a lot of family there.
Okay, definitely. And for those who are anime fans and comic book fans, I'll be at BlairCon. We're gonna do a meet and drink, not a meet and greet, but a meet and drink.
So you talking about I'm the one drunk. I think you've been sipping.
Oh no, I've been sipping, but I know how to handle my stuff.
It takes a lot for that man to get.
We already know that she put some color in some color dye up in her stuff because she was really drinking Colt 45. You know, it works.
That was my thing now. That was my thing back in the day. Colt 45, Billy D.
Only Billy D. Williams can make malt liquor look like champagne, man.
Okay, it tastes good though. All right, guys. Have a good evening.
Y'all better stop before I open up an after spot.
The dungeon.
No, she said the counselor's dungeon.
Oh my goodness! You know what she secretly said? She said sticks and stones may break her bones, but whips and chains excite her.
No. Well, on that note, gotta go.
All right, good people. Woo! We out.